Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I want to welcome everybody to the December 19th, 2023 zoning board of appeals meeting. We have quite a few items on the agenda, so we're going to try to expedite this as efficiently as possible. If you have a copy of the agenda items, the first two are public hearings. We'll deal with those first. We have one item of business that we need to address, and then we have the four newer applications, which we'll deal with as well. What we like to do, though, at the beginning of the zoning meetings is to have what we call the open forum. These are for anybody who has a question about the function of the zoning board or concerns of items not on the agenda, because those will be addressed later in the meeting. So I'll make a motion that we open forum.
With the motion.
Chairman Page,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lund,
Aye.
Board Member Gangster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit,
Aye.
Board Member Matos. Aye.
Is there anybody here that has anything that they would like to ask? If not, then I'll make a motion. We close the open forum.
Second.
Chairman Page,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lund,
Aye.
Board Member Gangster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit,
Aye.
Board Member Matos. Aye.
All right, so the first item on the agenda, Allison Dawes. Good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you.
If you want to grab one of the laser pointers and just give us an overview of what you're looking to have us do for it.
You have the updated photo? I don't. I emailed it with William. Because this is the one from before, and he wanted an aerial photo. Okay. Maybe something.
Yeah, is that the printed color?
Mhm.
We have it.
Yeah, I think we do have it. Yeah.
Yeah. that one. Okay. So just what you bring this one?
Yeah, just kind of review what,
Okay, so basically I just want to put up an 18-foot round pool. The drawing that you guys have in color, you wanted to know where the septic and the well and everything was, in reference to where the pool was going. And from this drawing, someone had mentioned that it looked like it was too close to the road, so in an aerial photo, you can see that it's far from the road. So I'm, I guess, asking for a variance for, I think it was 15 or 18 feet from the property line.
yes. Yeah, from the front.
That's.
Yeah, okay.
Need a 22-foot variance, or it's gonna be 22 feet, if you need an 18-foot variance?
No, it needs a 22-foot variance. It's 18 feet from the property.
All right. But if I'm, remember, we were looking at a front and a side yard variance, correct?
And the side
Okay.
yard variance is 18. From what it looks like,
Well, Chris is saying this idea is 22.
it's 22, I'm looking at
22.
average.
Then it will be 18 feet off the side yard until we get a 22-foot variance.
Right,
Because I understand what Chris is saying.
Being proactive, I measured 20, so I'm being a little proactive, because I don't know exactly where, I found the 10 as well. You know what I mean?
So front yard is what, it says 10 feet in our determination. And then we update side yard variance to 22.
you measured and it's about 20 feet from the side.
Correct.
Okay, so then that would require a 20-foot variance. Right,
Right, I was
Okay.
telling her to be a little proactive, because I'm not a.
okay,
surveyor, you know what I mean?
okay. And then from the front, it's going to be 70 feet.
Correct.
Okay, so that would be a 10-foot variance. That makes sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, because I think in the overhead colored photo, it shows a fair amount of foliage there that
Yes.
provides a barrier from the road.
Right.
Sounds like-
Well, that's true, but the concern about the visibility, I think, is raised in that regard.
Can't see
It's
anything.
literally a cliff.
Just out of curiosity, there was a note from the town of Princetown about, had you reached out to them?
I had not.
Okay,
We did,
Okay,
and
Oh.
they said that they, yeah. There was no issues with it,
okay. Well, how would this impact them?
because her property is Williamsburg, and the other side of her property is in Princeton. So Dale said it's a good idea to just make sure they were aware, he has no issues with it.
Okay, so the property is in Duanesburg and.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
A very small piece of property that's in, it's so weird.
That little triangle of these and that.
It's like, yeah, it's like way over. So dumb. It's
It's like 3 bushes that someone's trying to parent zone.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
And there was also a note from the outfit that installed the septic
yes,
and said that it needed to be that much position where it is
from
to
the leach.
avoid concern about septic.
Correct.
Yes. Any questions from the board? I mean, we've gone over this prior. Is there anything that of concern? All right, I'm gonna make a motion that we open the public hearing regarding the variance requests for this application.
Second.
Chairman Yu,
Aye.
Vice Chairman West,
Aye.
Board Member Greenstein,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni.
Aye.
Board Member Pettit,
Aye.
Board Member Matos.
Aye.
Is there anybody here that has any questions or comments regarding this application request? Sir, and your name?
My name's Todd Jensen, I'm the neighbor.
Okay,
Hey, where the hole is now is where they dug the hole originally, right off the get-go. And I wouldn't have a problem with a variance, but why should I have to pay for a surveyor to reshoot that line to make sure that they are 20 feet from my property? The plan wasn't followed the first time, so who watches over them following the plan? That's my first one.
That would be.
I mean, you have to approve it at the end.
Well, yeah, it has to, you have to pull permit, it has to be inspected.
If I wasn't home, there was a hole being dug, the pool would have been out.
Right. And, but listen, stuff like that happens all over Williamsburg,
I get it,
you know what I mean?
I get it.
I don't know about it.
But when it's only 5 feet from your property, you probably care.
so are you sure that where this is being placed?
So yes, I found, I was in the bushes. I
Okay,
found the pin and there's another pin down the hill in the bushes and I basically lined it up, okay, from pin to pin.
okay,
And that's where we took the measurement from. That's why I was being a little proactive with the variance, right? Gave it plus or minus 2 feet. I was
Okay.
on the line, but I did find 2 pins.
okay.
Now, I don't know who put those pins there.
Well,
They're survey pins. I mean, I don't know when they were put there.
The pin at the top of the property and the pin that's down by the road. were both there when I moved in.
Right, so the
Okay.
one pin.
There's
that I-
another pin by the telephone pole that wasn't there when we moved in.
So this would be the separation between the two properties?
Yeah, that's
Correct.
fine.
Okay, are you comfortable that that line is correct?
On that picture?
Well, that, I mean, that's kind of ballpark,
Yeah,
okay? But if that is correct, then again, the pool's gonna be 20 feet from that line.
who makes sure of that, is what I was asking.
Oh. Well,
Well, so from the pins, I've already.
I was told that I would have to get a surveyor of my own and pay for it in order to make sure that that pool was 20 feet from my property.
well, no, you wouldn't have to do that.
That's what I was told.
Well, I don't know how you got that information. As long as you're comfortable that
And
that,
Chris,
So if he's disputing the line,
I'm not disputing the line.
what,
that's
right,
what I'm saying.
yeah,
That's what I said.
okay. But at this point, everybody's comfortable with that. This line is as,
If he's comfortable with my line, yes,
yeah,
that's what I would tell him.
I'm
And he's
comfortable
not
with the-
comfortable.
I'm comfortable with the two pins that were there when I moved in and the Harrington showed me the property. They split it themselves. I'm quite sure.
Okay.
I'm quite sure that Russell showed me the proper property line because that homestead was all split up by them. That
Right.
survey was paid for by him. I have a survey paper at my house that shows those pins.
okay.
It shows the exact markings of where those pins should be.
As long as everybody's comfortable that that is accurate then. Because that was the reference point that we used. Normally, a side yard setback is at least 40 feet. Again, the variance is allowing some relief from that requirement.
Right, which I wouldn't have a problem with.
Okay, that's all we need to know then.
But I want to make sure that it's. What is going on this plan is what is going to happen.
Right, and the amount that we were discussing is what it's ultimately it's going to be, and it should not vary from that. And
So I believe they went closer though, right? They can go a little bit closer to the pole that's there now.
Closer
Right,
to the house.
correct,
Yes,
like what was it, 4 feet, 2 feet or something like that?
somewhere
It was
between 2 and
closer.
4.
okay, but it's not gonna be any further than 20 feet.
No, we're actually going away from his property.
Closer to her house.
That's
Correct.
fine, right?
Correct.
But the idea is that it not encroach on that property line
Correct.
any more than we're basically agreeing to.
Right.
Right. So you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other comments regarding this application? Okay, that being said, I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second,
Chairman Gage,
All right,
Board Member Matos,
aye.
Vice Chairman Leck,
Aye.
Board Member Ganston,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni,
Aye.
Board Member.
Aye.
so. I'm gonna go through the findings and factors for consideration. The first being whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties. Okay. No. Whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
No.
No.
There's just no place on this property.
Whether the requested variance is substantial.
Not once we, 20 feet is our guideline.
Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood? Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just based on the choice of the placement of the pool.
Well, and
Putting a pool.
Yeah.
Well, having the pool, if it didn't require a variance, then it wouldn't be a consideration, but again, the placement is what we're addressing. So if somebody would be willing to make a motion regarding. New addition. Yeah, it's R2, yeah.
All right, I will move that we grant Allison Dawes of 1724 Skyline Drive. SBL 4500-2-8.2. A 10-foot front yard variance and a 20-foot, I'm guessing that's east side yard variance. Is that west? Okay, west side yard variance.
It's 22. We say
Well, I
22 to be
think we
safe.
lowered it to 20 in the discussion.
Yeah.
Per. Thank you for zoning ordinance 8.61 and 8.62. You need a building permit for both?
Yes.
Provided a building permit be obtained within 6 months and.
I need
all-
another one.
No,
Oh, sure, yeah,
she has one, but
but
you already have one, but it's got to read it that you have that.
Yeah,
and all other elements of the ordinance be complied with.
second.
Vice Chairman Leonard.
Aye.
Chairman Gage.
I,
Board Member Ganster.
Aye.
Board Member Boggs.
Aye.
Board Member Leoni.
Aye.
Board Member Pettit. Board Member Snyder. Aye.
you're all set.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you'll be monitoring
Yes.
the actual construction.
Yeah, I don't think she's put on the floor right now.
No, but.
We'll make sure it's 20 feet from the line.
Yeah,
That's.
yeah.
Tricia Steely.
Aye.
You're up.
Aye.
Um,
I mean, we already went over this, so. Alright, you just had to put it. I'm doing the same thing that we talked about last month.
yeah, just kind of,
So I'm gonna put a new place in the front there.
okay,
As you can see, my existing place is already over the setback line, still pretty much doing the same thing.
right, this is the existing,
Mm-hmm.
and then this is gonna replace this,
Correct.
okay. So then we're talking about a variance from, I think was it this point here?
Mhm.
Now, you're also dealing with the planning board for a
Correct.
special use
That's my
permit,
line, getting to go
okay,
to multiple meetings, it's fair to say.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's see if there was something. We did receive a note from the Schenectady Health Department that there doesn't need to be any change.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yep.
because
We
it's,
talked it down.
yeah, it's like for
It's the
like.
same,
Okay.
not Benjamin's opinion.
Let's take care of our vision, you know, mobile home.
And grandfathered in because she had one there.
And it's like her life, so it's not
Yeah.
considered a new, okay.
Yeah.
What it looked like I was doing.
It'll be nicer.
Right, we did receive kind of referral, and they made mention of replacing the existing trailer with a new double wide constitutes new construction, and the wastewater treatment system need to meet current standards, but again, that's understood. So I think we determined that a 15-foot variance would be needed, that it's
It's gonna be 25 feet up.
uh. Well.
It's 15 feet from the property line.
Yeah, so then,
She needs a.
That would be a 25-foot variance, because she is 50.
yeah, then this was not correct.
Still closer than your existing trailer.
I did get a measurement of, I think I did ask at the last meeting, we did get a measurement. of it. Yeah, what's from the existing. very-
15.
What do you mean, how far?
You just wanna know what the existing is, 15 feet.
From the current trailer to the property, so it's basically the same.
Yeah, even this seems.
So that corner is.
I mean, that's not made out like exactly, that's just,
Okay,
that's
But
just
it's
what you're
okay.
kind of gonna get, I don't have, my site guy's not there that has laid it out, so you know, it's plus or minus,
okay,
you know.
but it'll be in that ballpark.
Absolutely, yes,
Okay.
It's 10
Yeah.
feet. Exist is 10 feet full, the variance is.
Okay.
And 2.5 inches.
that's my AutoCAD guy, so. They're a little bit of a different breed, so.
That was the deal.
I was just like, can you just put this on a piece of paper, and he had to get real technical, I'm like, that's a little much, but.
Do you have your new home purchased already?
I can't, I need to get a mortgage, I remember I'm not still.
But it's a particular model.
Huh?
I'm-
I do, I have everything pretty much picked out, I haven't actually placed the order yet, because I'm gonna make sure I get this done, then I'm gonna make sure that I get the funding, and then once, but yes, I do have the, like, the layout and everything that, yeah. Yeah, I do have it all picked out. So once I get all my ducks in line, then I'm gonna get it ordered, and whatever that takes to, you know, manufacture, because I have a lot of custom stuff I did to it, so. Yeah,
So again, we're looking at a 25-foot variance. Okay. We're all in agreement on that as far as, okay. So I'll make a motion that we open up a public hearing regarding this variance request.
Second motion.
Chairman Dash,
Aye.
Board Member Looney.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lai.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
All right.
Board Member Pettit,
Aye.
Board Member Matos.
Is there anybody here interested in asking questions or commenting on this variance application? Now, I'm gonna make a motion that we close the public hearing regarding this matter.
Chairman Dash,
Aye.
Board Member Matos.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lai.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leone,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit.
Aye.
Okay, so I'm gonna run through the findings, the first being whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or a detriment to nearby properties.
No.
Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by a feasible alternative to the variance.
No.
Whether the requested variance is substantial.
Yes.
Yeah, but with the addendum, it's no worse than what's already.
Right. Pre-existing. Would the variance have an adverse impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhoods?
No.
Whether the alleged difficulty was self-created? Yes.
No, I don't think so. Because it's replacement of a deteriorating structure.
I would agree with that.
There's a. So,
Is there, I mean, the existing, you're still living in the existing trailer, correct?
I am, it's not the nicest though,
Okay,
it's on dirt, it's not on a slab, it has no issues,
right, but in theory,
but I,
you could have placed a trailer in a different part of the,
No, and the property is too wet in the back, super, and then my septic, I would have put it lower than the whole septic would have to be redone, because it would be lower than my septic. There's a garage there, so yeah, no, there's nowhere else to put it,
okay.
it's way too wet in the back, like, it's just, yeah. Yeah, I trust me, I thought about it, I don't wanna go closer to the road, I really don't, I would rather go way back in the backyard, but it's just, it's undoable. Where the septic's located and then how wet it is, that's what I mean.
So that's the more optimum choice for the site of the.
Do I have a more optimal? choice?
No, that is the more.
That is, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah,
So no, you did not create it. She did not create it.
Well, no, but again, to me, that's preferable than, I don't know how you phrase that the other trailer is
Deteriorating.
deteriorating. Well, it may
It
be,
is.
but,
Past its use life.
it is,
Okay.
Yes, that's-
but needless, so we're saying that it's,
It's not really so.
okay, all right,
You're in agreement.
fair enough.
I'm not telling you about
Get this girl her structure.
All right. That being said, if somebody be willing to make a motion regarding this variance,
I don't have that sheet.
it.
We had them. I have different sheets.
like, here,
Sorry, yes.
all right.
The same.
This one. Yeah, I don't know.
So I make a motion to grant Tricia Steely, applicant of 3215 Western Turnpike in Waynesburg, New York. SBL 68 .00-1-9.12 a 25-foot west side side yard setback variance of, well, a west side yard variance of 25 feet on a pre-existing underside lot, construct or to replace an existing double wide structure, correct?
Existing mobile home.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Existing mobile home. Per the findings of section 14.5.2B, providing a building permit be obtained within 6 months and all other aspects of the ordinance be followed.
Member Matos,
Aye.
board member Pettit,
Aye.
Chairman Gage,
All right,
Vice Chairman Lott.
Aye.
Board member Ganster,
Aye.
board member Boggs,
Aye.
board member Leon.
This is why no one does not pass.
Right. You're all set. Right. It's all you. All right, good, you'll be good to go.
Thank you guys, have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, have a good night. Good night, honey.
All right.
Yeah, there's. That was for like you should
So the next item is Jacqueline French. And it's I think it was Sonia who was here as her, hi. You want to come up front?
Sure.
Again, we were asked to provide a variance for a a shed, a 12 by 24 foot shed.
Call
But
it a
there-
garage, because there's a shed towards the back and then it gets confusing, so if we call the front building a garage, it makes it a little easier.
Right.
okay, all right, so it's being used as a garage then?
It's being used as a shed, but because of its size, it just, and because there's two structures on that side part of the property, it just makes it easier to call it the garage. There is a shed towards the back.
Oh, okay, all right. The application did mention shed, but either way, it's a 12 by 24 foot structure. And there was concern about whether it was exclusively on Jacqueline Fritsch's property.
Right,
And you're looking to get that resolved.
The survey shows that it's not,
Well, let me-
it's all the way towards the back. It's better not-
well, that is the survey, so she's gonna get her property surveyed. The one on the far side of her property was not surveyed, is my understanding. So
okay,
she's gonna get her property surveyed.
so right now that shed looks to be right about here. Is that correct?
That's-
And,
If you, yeah, that's where it is right there.
That
Okay.
is the shed, yeah.
and this is the property line.
Yes,
That,
That would probably wait.
Well, it might help them, but we have the.
yeah, we've got,
Right, we have
Audience.
okay, yeah, that does help. All right.
Yeah, I guess.
So. Now, this is. Based on a survey that was done by Beverly and Jeanette. Okay, and I looked at a tax map, drawing. It does kind of resemble the property as shown here. Now, do you have a stamped copy of this?
No, yeah.
Okay, but there is one that could be obtained.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because it's important that we have an official copy. Unless now,
I know he filed one with the county.
okay, so there is one in existence, a.
Oh, yeah.
stamped one, Okay. So you. So Jacqueline is going to have her own survey done? Okay, is she contesting what this particular survey map shows, or,
she just told me she's getting her own survey done.
okay, is there any timeline on that?
Both surveys that she spoke to are booked pretty far out. We took the recommendations from the town, they're booked pretty far out, so it's gonna take at least a month to get it done,
Okay,
if not longer, depending on, I mean, the weather has not been friendly to surveyors. So,
okay.
I was gonna say, that is true. Everyone you call, they're booking 3 to 4 weeks out.
Okay,
All of
One of the
them.
dates they gave me is sitting right in front of you.
We're booking a year out.
what's that?
A year
Oh,
out.
A year.
okay,
Okay, some of them are a year.
so, all right, so,
When we spoke to you the other day, is there still the option of possibly making that line straight? Or is
I
is
will know
that still on
until
the
she gets
table?
her survey done, I don't know. Until that survey gets done, I don't know.
okay, so then. Again, at this point, there is a dispute as to whether that's. You know, first of all, there was no building permit obtained prior to the placement of this shed garage, correct?
Correct, when she purchased the property, her understanding was that the property line was further over. And that's what we all originally measured. And then it was in question, so now the one survey is done, so now we're gonna have the other survey done. And then it's gotta be moved, or if it's the line adjustment's gonna be made, or whatever's gonna happen.
Okay,
whatever we decide.
so given that there's not really anything that the zoning board could be doing now. I don't want
I
to,
wish,
well, we don't want to issue a variance
No.
because
I don't think we
then
can
we're
issue a variance.
basically saying that this is correct.
yeah, she's probably gonna have to adjust it, and she knows that,
Okay,
but we're not sure what that adjustment's gonna be yet.
okay. All right. So then,
Question is, does she need to withdraw the application?
well, I don't know, how long can we table an application? I mean, if she has every intent of, getting a survey and making, a good faith effort to get this, remedied, then we could table it. If not, then we would just ask that it would be withdrawn and then, resubmitted at a time when she's got everything, more or less straightened out.
Yeah, no, she's working to get it rectified. There's just only so much that's within
Okay,
her control.
Here's the dilemma I'm in. Her and I have been negotiating, just so you know, there is a proposal out there to straighten out the line, to your point.
Yeah.
Jackie, I'm guessing, is holding out until she has it surveyed. According to my lawyer, and anything that happens on that little bit of property, if there's an injury, I'm responsible.
right, and that's what the concern is, so,
And that is what my concern is,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I watched the Amazon guys come and deliver it. Now, I have no idea about the dog that's there, but. I know what that dog did to me, but I see the Amazon guys come and deliver and that dog comes out. If they were to get them, then I'm responsible.
Right,
And I don't know if that dog is gonna bite anybody, I'm just saying.
right, well, again, that is the concern because it's not exclusively
Correct.
on one property. So we could maybe table it for, I don't know, 60 days, and then if we don't feel that anything has been,
We would have 6 months.
6 months.
I believe so. I can double check that, but I think it's 6 months.
All right, we'll table it for 60 days, and then we could always extend that tabling if there's shown an effort to, again, try to get this remedy.
Also, like they were.
Well,
Doesn't change the liability component of that.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, well,
Right.
part of the negotiation. They put up like that of a bond and.
Right.
But again, that's between I would suggest that, but that's amongst the parties, we can't impose that.
I didn't understand what you said.
well, again, we'll address this once, again, we're comfortable that the property line is, I guess, honored, however it may get changed. But right, and you're correct in saying that there is a liability concern. So. Again, that would be my thinking that we can table it for at least only 2 months. Because we want to get this resolved. We don't want to leave it.
But it's already been tabled.
Yeah, but I don't want to leave it for 6 months because again, then we're not.
So I don't wanna leave it for.
Yeah, I don't think any of us do.
I agree.
I mean, I was hoping we were gonna have any.
Well, the only thing that we would resolve would be to deny it, but that doesn't deal and solve the concern about the liability. Because all that's being asked for is a variance about how far away or close to the property line. I mean, if anything, the property line should be adjusted so that a variance, that would not be substantial could be awarded.
So that's why I asked that question, because, can I see this real quick?
Yeah.
So the proposal is basically to take this line from here straight up,
Yeah,
and that would require a 9-foot side yard, or no, I'm sorry.
It's gotta
6
be-
foot.
I
side
was
yard.
say, yeah, variance is still required, but.
You still need a variance, but
But
Right,
it's
right
really
now.
on their property at that point.
I was gonna say it's on my property, so a variance wouldn't even do.
right,
Right.
again, that's why we
Right.
couldn't even entertain that.
No.
Right. So, again, that property line should be adjusted so that it's, I don't know. It's 15 is the
15, yep.
right, so then we would not want to, the variance should be greater than. No greater than 7.5 feet.
Right, it would be 6, if it took that line straight up, it would be 6, a 6-foot variance, because she'd be from the wooden fence, that wooden fence.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't honestly know what it is,
So,
I don't think it's the fence line, but. I don't know in my yard where it is.
Right, well, they
But on
make
that-
reference to,
I mean, when they
out of
come
the
pinning,
street.
they haven't pinned it, they haven't put any pins down because we were
in negotiation for having it straight, so that'd be a waste of time depending. Right now.
Well, they make reference to, I don't know, mag nail set, is that some kind of line?
That nail is just a little nail.
Oh, right, I think, I've seen that in,
You're gonna use it in paper.
right, but that would count as the equivalent of a pin or something,
Mag nail is not gonna last very long.
okay.
Well, but it'll last long enough to negotiate on where to draw the line.
Yeah.
Presumably, that's why they use it.
Right, so at least according to the survey, one does exist, but you're right, in pavement, it may not last.
The pavement it lasts, but in the ground it doesn't.
Oh, in the
It's only
ground,
an inch and a half.
right, what about in blacktop?
The blacktop it'll last.
Oh, okay, all right, well,
So it's really just the big question is whether or not the property line is gonna be adjusted. If it's gonna be adjusted, then you have next steps. If it's not adjusted, then the structure, in order for it to be moved off our property, must be moved. So those are the two avenues, right, available to us.
well, it's gonna need to be adjusted anyway, because again, regardless of whether we're asked to, you know, grant a variance, it's still on somebody else's property.
Well,
You can't
no.
Do that.
No,
So what Caitlin's
Right,
saying
so
is
she's
we
either gotta
need to
move the
move-
shed, or there has to be a line.
Shed?
Right,
Or
they-
move the lot.
Either she moves the shed or she moves the line.
There's two
We
options.
can't do either one.
Correct, right, that's what I'm, we can grant a variance if the line is moved.
Right.
Assuming she's
Or the-
expecting this results of the survey
Gotcha.
or not.
Right, if her survey comes back and it's the same,
Which is
All right,
likely to be.
we have no.
so getting back, we'll table this for 60 days. And hope we'll see some effort to kind of get this resolved. I'll make a motion that we table this application for 60 days,
I second the motion.
all right,
Chairman Gage,
all right.
Board Member Matos,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Left.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Bach,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit.
So again, you need to convey to the owner to get something done as far as getting this resolved. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good holiday, everybody.
Thanks, and,
All right, next item is Thomas Samuelson. How you doing?
Good.
If you want to grab one of the,
Pointer?
yes, and then just give us an idea of what, you're looking to have us do for.
Well, I guess I'm not sure, an area variance for parking. What do I need? I
Right,
guess,
so,
Well, explain what the scenario said.
well, that was a two-family house.
Okay,
And, but then because of the septic system, it got condemned and they made it back into a one-family house. And then I've been working on it and getting it back to the two-family house.
okay,
And I guess there's some kind of certain area you need to park so many cars or
right,
something.
so, yeah, so his parking, well, the majority of his parking lot or his driveway is actually in the right of way. On Route 7, which would be at the bottom,
Yeah,
down there,
there's Route 7
Okay.
right?
for the entrance. Below that.
So he would need, the well is where, I believe where that cross is, right?
Yes.
So that's the well, which is in part of that area.
Mhm.
The line all the way to the right would be where. Kind of where the fence is at the point park, if you know where the point.
all
is.
right, so the park is right here,
Correct.
okay, and then so the post office is this way,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So he's looking for a variance because he doesn't have enough. Room there for 4 vehicles, which a 2-family requires room for 4 vehicles.
And this is,
It's not a 2-family yet, because he needs this
No.
variance.
but this is a hamlet,
Yes.
okay,
Now,
did it once have a, if it used to be a two-family?
It was vacant more than a year, so it reverts back to its original use, which was a single family.
All right, I know, you said the original use was a two-family and then it.
But it
then it became a one.
was a single family.
Okay.
Then it was turned into a two-family. And then,
okay, probably so, I
Yes.
really don't know that part.
no, well, that was from Dale. You know, or, okay.
That was
It's
long
already
before
in
they-
there.
that was before
Yeah,
Howard and-
I'm sure.
So he has to have enough room for 4 parking spaces for a 2-family.
Yes.
Okay.
So, now there's probably 40 feet back where it starts going down a hill there. Probably about 40 feet.
Right, you can only go as far as, you wanna stay away from that clean out's down there though, correct? It's down there a ways, but.
Yeah,
it's-
the clean
it's-
out somewhere down there.
Right, so, but I'm saying, you
But I-
wanna leave enough room, that was something the sewer guys were.
Well, they said I could cover it if I wanted, but I guess I will leave it there and
Yeah.
you just gotta know where it is.
Sticking up out of the.
Yeah, it's sticking up out of first and then.
So the requirement for a 1-family is what, 2
Two
parking?
spaces, yeah.
Okay, so where would the parking spaces be as far as?
Right now, they're in the front. Right
Yeah,
there.
they'd be there
That's
or
considered,
along the side there, that's.
Can he put 2 cars along the side
well, he's,
without affecting the cutout?
well, he's got 20 feet here.
That's.
Yeah, so it's 18, I'll tell you what size the parking spots have to be.
I did not know.
Yeah,
That was, I didn't know
yeah,
what you really needed.
it'll take me a minute to find it, but I will find it, because I found it. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna print it out at some point.
Oh, yes, it is in here. Okay, so he needs 4, what does he have room for?
Here you go, right here. In aisle width. He needs 20 feet, each parking space shall be at least 9 feet wide and 18 feet long, right? So they
Okay.
can fit 1 car there. All right. Problem is,
That way, if he's got 20 feet.
Could you put 2 cars?
Can he put 2 cars side by
there
side?
and
Yeah.
There's 2 cars in the front,
Yeah.
and therefore does he need a variance at all?
Right, what is from here to here?
well, that side of the house is probably no good because of the well.
Right, no, but I'm thinking if he can put
So
some,
this is 42 feet.
Yeah.
So he's got 42 by 20.
But he doesn't because.
well, he
the clean out is
doesn't,
there.
but I was wondering if he can put 2 on the side, does he have room for 2 in the front? To the right of the well,
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
and does that get him his 4 spot?
No, because he's still in the right of way. You understand what I'm saying? That front, half of that front is in the,
Route 7 right away.
it's the Route 7 right of way.
Right, so how much room does?
There's enough room maybe to fit a car sideways there. You get what I'm saying, but not
Well,
rolling here.
alright, he's got.
So there's
Can he
not
fit 2
enough-
cars sideways?
There's not enough room to have 2 cars side by side here.
Well, I think we're saying there might be room for that, but only room for 1 in the front, which
Right.
only gets him to 3 cars.
Well, he's asking for a variance
Of
on
1 car, yeah, so he's asking to put 3 cars where,
Well,
instead of 4.
so this is, you say that it's gonna be a 2-family, so there's gonna be 2 families?
Yes, one's a 1-bedroom, the other's a 2-bedroom.
Okay. So they would need to have at least their own 2 parking.
I guess that's.
That's the.
Well, that's kind of the logic behind
Yes,
the
I guess so,
requirement.
yeah.
yes, and he's asking us to vary it, and only require 3 in his case. At least I'm guessing.
Or you're
that would
asking for
be-
an area variance to allow for a 4 spot, which there's no way. Looks like that's the jigsaw that we're traveling.
Yeah, and let me,
He was looking for the, for us to allow 3 spots rather than 4.
well, yeah,
Well, that's ordinance versus law though, like New York State housing law.
Well, I would think you could park 1 car here and 1 car behind it, and then another car here and another car there. You got 20 feet. Wouldn't that be enough?
well, it depends if, With that scenario, say if you had two different apartments and two dwellers in each apartment, would they have to have somebody move their car so they could get out, or?
Two cars were with one apartment, they'd have to park
If you designate
together.
that, you know, it's
Yeah,
okay,
if you.
you designate it as that.
Speaking of which, we did get a county referral. And they defer to local consideration, but they do, as an advisory note, it says, town may wish to resolve any encroachment issue as there may be with the existing driveway on the adjoining town property. The driveway should be constructed to provide a turnout so vehicles don't need to back out into State Route 7.
And that's the other problem.
Yes,
Especially at that intersection.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
Keep going. It's a classic.
The ideal thing would be to get some property off of the adjacent lot.
Or in Route 7, out Route 20.
Yeah.
okay,
Can you do that? Or you run into the-
yeah, it's,
Well, he'd have to bury that, the clean out is there, the problem, clean out sticks up out of the ground this much. PVC pipe,
oh,
so it's the sewer.
but that can be relocated,
It can be buried
okay.
correctly, be buried.
Does the grade drop off down to Route 20?
It has to-
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to-
It has to.
Because I remember that the basement was more exposed on the Route 20 side,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, I mean, it drops, it's not a cliff, but it's a,
yeah, but it-
I mean, it's only gonna solve the problem. Because even the county's saying that you'd have to have some sort of turnaround. Which
That would solve the turnaround problem, it still wouldn't get him before it's finished. Well,
Yes,
I
but
guess
you would
if he
do it
buried the
once.
clean out, then he's got room on the
Right.
side for it, okay.
And to be quite honest with you, you could use that whole lower triangle on the Route 20 side as parking as well, if you really wanted to.
Well, can't you do that anyway?
That would seem to be the only place where there.
Right,
is
well,
actual
but without
space.
cutting all the way through, if he puts the car or two on the side and a car or two in that triangle.
Well, we
You're still,
don't
we're still
have,
not accommodating for the turnaround that there's.
we don't have the measurements of that triangle either.
Yeah.
I think what we need to see is a layout,
yes,
proposed layout, or and maybe two.
and by somebody who's a little more knowledgeable about what is reasonable and safe to do. Because we don't want to, again, create a scenario again where people have to move their car to. Or, you know, again, the county was concerned about, you know, backing out on Route 7.
Yeah, I always back in because I'm worked on an aircraft carrier and you always ready to launch.
I agree, it's safer to go straight out than it is, I don't know, my thinking would be maybe to reach out to somebody that would provide more reasonable input.
Who would that be?
Well,
Lance
Do you know
Menace.
someone?
Lance Menace.
Yeah, Lance.
that's a good thought, yeah, you know, Lance?
I've had surveys done by him before, I think, on my farmland out here.
Okay, well, maybe you could reach out to him and see what he may suggest.
And he would know all the ordinances. or
Well,
whatever.
if he doesn't, he would,
Or he could go find it.
yes, if you're willing to engage him in that capacity, if not, maybe he could direct you towards somebody that, you know. So. So again, I guess if,
I think this is something he could rip off pretty quick.
but if he can do that, that's fine. So then. Regarding this, I would recommend we table this until we have more sufficient information.
Okay.
I mean, you know, the variance part of it is, it's not like it's not doable, but we don't want to approve something that may prove not to be as safe as it could or should be, so.
As it stands, we don't actually have enough information.
As it is, yeah.
They're on Williams side, you would need a culvert pretty much the length of the lot. You know, to have full access to it.
If the alternative is to not be able to put anything on it at all, though, that's probably best, right?
Yeah, very simple thing. There's no question in the world.
Are you comfortable with that at this point?
I guess, yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I mean, you
I have a
know,
contract on the house already in February, but if I could get something done by January. To get,
yeah, if you could, think you could get that information that we feel comfortable. Because then ultimately we would set a public hearing and then ultimately make a decision by February at the earliest.
well. But the January meeting. Next month meeting, right? Or-
Yes.
Well,
If I
the
can get it
January
before-
meeting would probably set a public hearing for the February meeting.
Yeah.
To
Okay,
finally decide, and the January meeting, you would have enough information for us to. Set a public hearing and let the neighbors know what's actually proposed.
When you say if you have a contract, do you have a contract for tenants there, or you have a contract to sell it?
just to sell it, yeah. I'm still working on other courts, and if anybody can see it, they go by it. Yeah. I mean, that's,
I mean, ultimately. So how many parking spots would you want to have then?
well. You know, I guess, yeah, we have to be.
Yeah, I think it has to work for state.
Yeah.
This,
If I could, you know. Make a driveway and park two here, and they could back out, you know, but. You know, two here and two here.
All right,
My other thought was to bury that well, you know, you can put I actually talked to the county years ago about that. You can actually put a cover over, it, like a, you know, a cap over it and drop it down. And then you could park on this.
No, you can't do that. Your casing has to be 24 inches out of the ground now.
Well, if you put it down and put a cover on it, and it's still 24 inches, that's what they told me to sketch the
24
county.
inches above the ground? How do you cover it up 24 inches of the
You
ground?
put one of those big cylinders and a manhole cover on it. And so it's
it'd be
still 24 inches,
above the ground.
it's
The
24
ground
inches
would be
above the
24
ground
inches down.
around it.
again, I think
That's
Lance,
another issue. Yeah, that's
Well,
all I'm-
yeah, I think like Lance would be able to resolve that kind of concern as well. So
Okay,
the thinking would be, at this time, we don't want to set a public hearing until we feel that we've got, again, you know, as much information that we're comfortable granting a variance for. And again, he might be able to configure a way to have all four, then you wouldn't need a variance.
You just take what he says back to Chris.
Yeah, and then,
Chris may be able to reverse the decision without our involvement.
okay. Yeah, so maybe you won't even need a variance.
right,
All right.
so we'll
Table.
table the application until, so if somebody wants to make a motion to table the application.
Second. Aye.
Board Member Dancer,
Aye.
That's what I thought.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Black, Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit,
Aye.
Board Member Metzer. Aye.
Okay, just
All right.
keep
Yeah.
Chris up to date and then again,
Alright.
we'll
Be in
take it
contact.
from there.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Next item, Claudia Ojelnik. How you doing?
Okay,
Good. Can we get you a pointer? So you can point out what you're looking to have us do for you.
Right, what do I, how do I do this?
There's a button on there.
Oh, this way?
It goes the other way. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
all right. Is that mine right here?
Yep.
Oh, down here's the road,
Yep,
this is my house,
Okay,
right?
yep,
And on the side here is where the garage, it's a metal. It was a steel garage that we were putting up. And it's too close to the property line,
okay.
and I don't know what more to say.
Okay, so. And that's, it's, so the edge of the house is, so it's gonna go in this space here,
Yeah,
okay, so.
right, but it's, here's the house, and it's right here. Right next.
Okay, is it there now?
yeah.
Yes,
It's
right
half,
here.
it's half there.
All right,
I
So-
screwed up and I didn't come to God.
all right. Fair enough. So what is the size of the garage?
I think, didn't I give you
It
guys,
is, you know. I explained that she's only about 18 probably.
Right,
Alright.
because the house itself is at 39.5 from the property lines.
Yeah, right, yeah. So, but you're saying, so this thing is, it's three, the edge of it is 3 feet from there.
and then there's where they got pine trees.
Okay, so how much distance between the edge of the garage and the house?
My house,
Yeah. See, right here is the edge of your house, right?
yeah,
So that you have the garage, how far away is the garage from the house there?
maybe,
6 feet? All right, so then, so that makes,
I think it's 24 right
the
there.
thing is that I was in a car accident a couple years ago, I broke my neck. And I've been having hard times like in the winter to clean up my cars and doing all that, and so we decided to do that. And I failed to come get a thing.
okay. All right, so, but we don't, all right, we need. Okay, but what you do know is that it's 3 feet from the property line.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's, now it's not fully constructed, or it is?
The frame is up and the two sides are up.
Okay,
The entire
these
steel.
are like one of those steel carport things?
Yes, but it's an actual garage.
Okay, I mean, it's, the sides are enclosed and everything?
So the sides are up, yes, the sides are up, the frame is up.
On block foundation or?
It's sitting on, so that's all pavement all the way over to the property line.
Right,
That's all pavement, so it's sitting on pavement. And it's lagged into the pavement all the way around.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, and that's when I got the phone call when it was framed and the two sides were up, I got the complaint.
Yeah.
So
there's no building permit.
no, there wasn't.
All right, so
like I said,
you can get an exact measure.
For the size of the garage?
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
okay, but as it stands, it's already
Yeah, it's.
pinned to the ground.
Yep.
Okay,
let me see what this. You have the plans for the garage?
Does it go all the way to the road?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, if you have the
No.
plans for the garage.
It's even with the house.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
I got.
Is it something that could be moved? Okay, well, I mean, you still probably need a front yard variance, but could it be moved? It's front of the house.
Well, no, because yeah, but then you need a front yard variance.
Yeah, but you might not need
No,
37 out of 40 feet. You might
No,
need
because
a
there's a front, it's 80 feet.
Yes, but you might need.
It's a 28 by 30.
28.
I said 24 by 30.
Okay,
You wanna see what it looks like?
So it wouldn't be wide very deep because it's not up against.
Yes,
No.
28 wide, 30 deep, same
Alright.
length as 30.
so it's, so there's 10 feet of wiggle room then. For the structure between the side of the house and the property line.
Except it's already pinned there.
Well, how-
Yeah, we can tell.
is it just lagged into the,
I have no idea how these things are attached. I know it's attached in a lot of spots. though.
well, how many spots? Like, I mean, there's,
Can I bring this over?
yes,
This is I'm presuming that a company did this work.
They were doing it, yes. It was a company that was doing it.
American Steel.
Yeah.
Cardboard support.
So they were-
so they're still in the process of constructing this.
I think we put a halt to it.
Yes.
I think Chris put a halt to it.
But then, maybe it could be modified.
It really couldn't.
All right. If it's 28 feet, you've got 39 between the house. I mean, even if you moved it so that it was 5 feet off the,
Well, I think it's 30 wide, right?
This
well,
is
you
28
said
by 30.
28.
28 by 30.
It's like right in the middle of the pitch.
Frame length is,
Yeah, but the width is the 28. So then you've got 39, so this is 28 here. So we've got, again, 11 and a half feet of wiggle room to place that. So,
It's gonna be 30. It is gonna be 30.
no, it's 30 this way. It's 28 wide. Because it's going the same way, as the doors are here in the prop.
That doesn't account for the eaves. Just putting that out there.
The width is 28, which is the width.
So if you put it like directly on top of the house, it gives
Is the
you,
front.
You can't put
Alright.
buckets in the house.
right, no, I know, but I'm saying like,
Yeah,
even if
that's-
you did, you're still
what,
8 feet. Line.
all right.
The length of the structure is the peak.
All right, I would consider it the other way, but it doesn't matter. So there's still not adequate room. All right, so as it stands, then we're talking 30 feet here, so then there's 9.5 feet.
Right, and it's already 3 feet from the property line, so you have 6.5 feet.
Between the house.
All right, so then again, it would get back to a 37-foot variance.
Thank you.
Okay. It is what it is.
I
mean, we're just
know,
trying
I
to see
know.
what the particulars are here.
What's on the other side?
Oh, the other side, I know.
Right. What was the
They're
nature
on
of the
the,
complaint?
On the other side of the property line,
By,
past you.
Black Hand.
Oh,
well,
that's
first,
It was a person.
all right.
Land,
Field there,
huh?
is it a field?
A field?
No, I understand, but but somebody,
It was somebody in the area, yes.
okay,
And I think it was more because she didn't go through the steps that she.
well,
I did it, I screwed up.
and,
Sure, okay.
We would have.
yeah, but that ship is sailed, so,
No.
I mean, there's no way to. And what were you suggesting, that it be moved out to the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see how that's gonna resolve anything. All right,
3 feet from the front.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, in theory, you could turn it, but if it's already in the pavement, so you could turn it so it wasn't this
Right.
way, flip it this way and then bring it down into that square that's open, but
that did,
Yeah.
that still wouldn't
So-
result in-
still variance is on variance.
So the other problem with this property is the front of it goes like this. Like her driveway is this. So it's up on the flat, it's on the flat spot. If you come forward, it's literally like it's an incline, it's not a hill. it's like-
Yeah.
All right.
You can't build a garage.
So it is gonna be where it is,
Pretty much.
okay? All right. So we understand what we're looking at here? Okay. So the request would be again for a 3-foot variance or 37-foot variance, right?
From the 30 foot.
So the other thing then, what about
How far is it off the front?
It's 39, house is 39, so.
yeah, it's still an 80, and you say it's at the edge of the house.
So you need a 40 or 41 foot front yard variance for this?
Correct.
All right,
I like that.
so you have neighbors to the side of your property?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Houses.
I mean, it's just not like a vacant field or anything.
no,
Okay.
There's a row of trees. That's
there's a row of pine trees down through there.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
How far is how
The house is. I can show you, but the house is.
There's a deck there. And then the house,
on your neighbor's property?
yes.
Okay.
How far from the tree is it to that?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's gonna bring it around, so I have to go back.
Yeah, just going through this.
This is where the garage is. Right, here's where the garage is.
So that,
This is the little trees.
Right.
so that house next to it is probably not in compliance with the setback either, correct?
Oh,
If
no,
this
I'm
is
sure.
3 feet, this doesn't look like 15.
Yeah.
It was either pre-existing.
Yeah, they were all
Right.
pre-existing.
Right,
They're all
whatever.
pre-existing. Yeah.
Yeah, for years.
Okay, so be it, let's see if there was
Yeah,
anything else in here that,
plus if there's slow slides along there, but I think it's sliding, you know.
so then. Can you just verify? I know you got the structure information. You say it's 3 feet here, what about to the front?
Well, it's right even with this.
If it's even
right
with
even-
the house, then it's
Okay.
39.7.
Yeah.
And he's a 41 foot. front yard. So it's 80 yard.
Now, Chris, brother that I looked at of the house that has the driveway was paved, and it's got a full section of gravel. The gravel part of the property.
It's got what?
Gravel,
Where? On my property?
no, next to it.
Next to it.
Yeah, you have. The picture that shows over here.
Yeah, but maybe you can see it, you can still get at the same picture. It's not.
It shows the house. It shows the paved driveway, and it shows a whole bunch of gravel.
Oh, that's all paved now.
That's all paved now?
So look at this
Oh,
here,
okay.
so if that's
So there might be an old picture.
Also right here.
and that's 4 feet, so it's
So right here is where the ground
aligned with
Right,
this, that would make
This is
it,
all the way across.
so we can move down.
Yeah.
Three.
Well, we're not gonna do it.
Where it flattens
I don't
out.
think that's.
Well, I think they're
Right.
so we're looking at it like you say.
Right, that's really what's talking about.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Oh, no, I understand. It's one huge.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing, yeah. Then it wouldn't be unreasonable, but I don't think that's where it is. I don't think that's what she's asking.
No, but she's gonna need that because again,
Yeah. I don't think they're gonna do the 30%.
well, we don't have much choice. do we?
It's. So whatever.
It's also the implication of the property owner on the other side of the house. Because it's how what the impact of it. This is, I don't know if you have. I don't know if this helps you. House. This is that house. This is. It's good, that's your 3 favorites.
All right.
Yeah.
So let me ask the board, are we willing to consider a 37-foot variance?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, if we are, then we would set a public hearing. Lane? Dan?
It's tough to think about, you know, because. I mean, she's already got it started, I mean.
Well,
I mean, if you set the public hearing, would the neighbors get his chance to say their piece?
Yeah, absolutely, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'd actually do it that way. That's my opinion. I mean, you guys have your own opinions, I'm sure.
So the people leaning towards no, are we willing to consider a public hearing?
I'll consider a public hearing.
Okay.
Anything in a public hearing.
The only thing that makes me remiss to do it is that even if the neighbor doesn't step forward right now, there's a real impact for the next property owner and the actual value of that property whether or not they stay. And it's not a 10-foot variance, it's 3 feet from the property line. If one of those trees comes down, like the impacts I think are.
Yeah, both properties.
Right, I'm deeply simple, yeah, it sounds very, very sympathetic to it. It sets a very tricky precedent for us as a zoning board. Especially because of how the ordinance is written.
reading questions about whether there's any other place on the property. Where else could these be going.
No. Wait a minute.
Well, all right, what is the distance? Say, on this side of it? From the edge of the house here over this way, it doesn't look that much
My
different.
well and stuff is there. My well is there.
Could it be a single bay garage, could be converted, like, is that an option, have it be a single bay garage versus a double bay garage? So rather than it being 30 feet wide, bringing it to like the 20-foot bay, is
Well,
that
see,
something?
that, my boyfriend has a truck, that has a, what do you call it, plow on it and all that. So, I'd say no.
So he wants to put that in the garage
And
too, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and it's got at least probably an 8-foot blade. That close, it's a bigger truck,
yes, yeah.
250 or something, 2,500.
So and where has it been this whole time, that becomes my question, right, like that's.
Outside.
I understand the necessity of it for,
Physical limitation.
And the thing
Right.
is, it's almost finished, I mean,
Mhm.
I screwed up.
I thought that's so.
Now I'm in a pickle here.
Again, the question would be, regardless of whether
Oh, hearing.
Public
We
hearing.
can have a-
Yeah, that's fine.
So we're gonna set a public hearing. With the idea of getting input from other properties.
What
Also,
properties around me or? is it-
yeah,
Yeah, they will all be notified that
Across
it's
the
public hearing.
street, there's nothing. It's-
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But it might be worth considering maybe having a smaller size. If even, because this is a rather. It's a variance request beyond what we normally would approve. If obviously we wouldn't approve it, you know, if something were not in place. Now, I don't know if the outfit that's doing this can maybe modify this design.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I don't think, it's a kid, so I don't think so.
I don't
Well-
think so either. I mean, they would have had that up that day. It
Yeah.
takes, or 2 days it takes them, and.
I mean, worst case scenario, then again, if it's not approved, then it needs to be. You know, no further construction. And you'd have to either think maybe a smaller size or a different location on your property.
There is no other location that could do it.
Okay, well, that's.
I know. I know.
Can you move that, can this shed be moved? This one right here, and possibly put it a little bit behind the house, maybe? You know, so you still drive up in the driveway.
Put it behind the house.
Right.
Yeah, that,
That moved a little bit, it says it's a shed, I don't know, but if you can put it like right here, yeah, we could walk this way.
Behind the house.
Yeah, a little bit,
yeah,
yeah, you know. So maybe the doors would be
Well, see, it goes,
downhill?
yeah,
or in? Oh, okay. I'm sorry,
yeah.
The alternative would be to put it like right on the very front of the house, make it a snoot house and have it be the garage right in front and then.
Right here, right?
yeah, but then that would also require.
So that's got a big incline.
That's an incline.
Yeah, it is.
Or to the left in the front of the house. Which is,
On the other side, put a driveway.
Yeah, it's good.
which is right here, no, I'm saying like right in front, which is. It's
Yeah,
another situation.
Small front setback.
Well, that is this front setback is under 40 feet.
Alright. Again, I think,
It would be.
yeah. We can set a public hearing with the intent of getting input from the neighbors, also maybe to give you some opportunity to think how maybe it could be placed elsewhere or modify the size of this particular structure so that the variance is not as substantial as the request as it is now, so.
Well, we've already thought of that. I don't know what to say.
I
I know
mean,
I messed,
well, it doesn't mean
Yeah,
it can't be remedied though. So again, that's, I don't wanna put you on the spot and make you think, you know, what you have to do right now. Again, a public hearing would give you an opportunity to maybe come up with an alternative
and
scenario.
this public hearing is asking people if they approve or don't approve.
Well,
Is that
no,
it?
we get their input. We make the approval or not approval,
Oh,
but we do it with, you know, neighbors.
Yeah.
input.
yeah,
So,
Just the standard practice.
I understand.
Because we can all say
It's
yes.
like
and
if
it's
I had a
right.
chicken coop and I had chickens running all over, you know what I mean?
Right, like if all your neighbors come in and they say this is totally fine, then that's a totally different thing than us not having that.
Neighbors, it would be around my house, by my house.
it's.
And I got one over here.
Anyone in town could attend, everyone in like a 1,000-foot radius would be notified of when
So I
and
got
where they
two.
come from. So,
I
yeah.
got the one that's,
Yeah.
the shed is right next to him, and I got my other neighbor over
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So they would know and they would have the opportunity to speak.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's do it. I guess.
Okay, so that being said, let me address seeker. ZBA determines that this request for setback and lot line variance is an exempt type 2 action pursuant to Title 6 NYCRR Section 671.5 C16, and no further action pursuant to seeker is required.
Okay.
Thank you.
Chairman Dean,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Left,
Aye.
Board Member Lanston,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leon.
Aye.
Board Member Pellet,
Aye.
Board Member Murphy. Aye.
And you're gonna send me a letter or something saying when?
I think we're gonna set a
That'll be in a
public,
second.
yes, so,
Oh, okay.
somebody want to make a motion to set a public hearing for it's gotta be January 16, 2024.
I'll make a motion to set a public hearing to get this 2024. To address the garage, variance. At 4609 Waynesburg Churches Road, in Lansing.
Just beyond 33 dot 0
That do that nice.
I guess I'll say.
Yeah, okay.
Board Member Leoni.
Aye.
Vice Chairman Left,
Aye.
Chairman Dean,
Aye.
Board Member Lanston,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Right?
Board Member Pellet,
Aye.
Board Member Murphy. Aye.
All right, it's a public hearing on
January 16th,
when?
16th of January,
June. Okay,
You'll get a letter as well.
okay,
Yeah.
roughly 7 PM. We'll be here at 7. And then
yeah,
in whatever order they're heard with it.
okay.
So again, you'll have a month to kind of think of maybe a different scenario for this that might make
I
it.
know,
Don't lose sleep over it, just, again, you got a whole month to kind
I've
of,
lost sleep over this coming here.
Talk to the builders, see what they, see if they have any ideas.
right. They may be,
It may be worth a discussion with them. If
Yes.
you do anything here, there's. any-
you're representing Donald Martin. Okay. You're on.
So I can read,
Free to go.
I'm on.
It's only board jail for the night.
Yeah.
It's not one there, oh, there-
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Good evening, Joanne Darcy from Land Surveyor and attorney from Cobblestone. We've been asked by, as Chris said, it happens all the time in the town of Williamsburg.
Well, so then, like,
We're working on it.
Yeah. In 1988, the Martins owned this property. They had a survey done by Blackstone. And they found a pin here in a wall corner. But when they did the survey, they did not hold that stone wall. Well, whenever I do a survey, I refuse to set it off the stone wall because everybody always occupies the stone wall. So in 2003, Don and Cynthia Martin purchased this from her father. And her sister was also married to a Martin, owns the next parcel here. Durgassets,
Durgasits. Durgasits.
oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Durgassets has owned this property since 1995. And.
91.
Okay, thank you. And I believe that you thought that the line was on the stone wall.
There was no survey provided to us. Your client had Blackstone do a survey and it was never intentionally never filed with the county. So yes, so that line was never established and identified to us. That's correct.
Okay, but you never had a survey done until John Demis did it.
That's
Okay,
correct.
so he owned the property since 1991 and he had never had a survey. So apparently everybody thought that the property line was along the stone wall. John Demis did a survey from Mr. Durgassets so that he can do a subdivision, and it was discovered that this property, this triangular piece, that Mr. Martin has several buildings, several structures on the Durgassets property.
Mr. Jurgensen has agreed to sell this property to the Martins. And also this piece, this is also off the I mean, within 2 feet of the property line, this shed. So what we're here to do is to resolve the issue of the encroaching structures. And there's several different structures that have been constructed over the since 1986, when Martins, they think it was the parents, George Martin and Joan Martin, originally owned the property. But Donald and Cynthia have owned the property since 2003, and since then they have never gotten a building permit. If they had, somebody probably would have noticed. This is shown on the survey map as going the stone wall, but the property line goes to a corner in the stone wall, but it does not go along the stone wall. So this is a 23-foot strip here, going down to a triangle here. And so what we're requesting, we went to the planning board, and because it doesn't meet side yard setbacks, we're here to the zoning board of appeals requesting relief. Because Mr. Jurgensen doesn't want to sell, another 20 feet to make them conforming.
So this is the valid property line right here.
This is the property line here.
The dash line is the actual meets and bounds, yes.
So it's these series of sheds that are.
Yes, there's-
Triangle that will be.
The shed, there's an outdoor wood stove that was within a short, like less than a foot off the property line. There's a
LP gas tank.
an LP gas tank that's over the property line. The line goes through this shed, and through this shed.
But you are
So-
selling them to that solid line, correct?
Yes,
Is that
he's
the
selling
plan?
The solid line is the existing
What's
property.
the square footage of these sheds?
There are two that are over the 12 by 12.
Okay.
Chris has been out to the site. I invited Chris out back in May when this was found.
All right,
Okay,
so, yeah, the ones that are less than 144 square feet don't require building permits and are not subject to the setbacks. So anything that is over the 144 are the ones that we would have to grant variances for.
Which would be the woodshed.
Like, I suspect
Yeah.
Okay,
that one, because it's, well,
The garage right
there's the
there
shed here,
and the A-frame.
right?
Oh, yeah, all right. Yeah, if you could identify which of those that are, again, greater than the 144 square feet, those are the ones that we would have to address. We have that variance. The other ones, they are what they are. So you know specifically which ones?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Is the A-frame a cabin? Like a dwelling?
This is the shed.
It's called an A-frame, okay, when I, the
It's the
A-frame, like
A-frame.
the house.
It's an A-frame.
It's just shaped that way.
It would be this one.
Okay.
That one you got, that one is a garage.
Yeah.
So you got the line on.
It's bigger than 144.
Yeah,
So it would be this one,
And the woodshed?
and the woodshed over next to the boiler, I believe is,
this one. This one is not,
no, well, that's outside
and
the area.
this one too, but it's outside the boundary, so.
It's outside the boundary, but it still is 30
Is
feet
it?
off the property
Well,
line.
It's 30 feet?
Right.
Alright, so
And
you
this
have,
one also,
yeah,
and
so
this
you have
one also.
5, 6 of them, you have
Well,
one,
that one-
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. 6. This one goes on the front setback.
Right, that one needs a side yard from
Well,
the.
That's not really the side though, isn't it?
This is, the front is this way.
Yeah,
This is the keyhole lot.
Yeah.
This was, there was a variance for this after 91.
Yeah, that front shed.
Prior to these structures and this house being built here. that the town issued.
Worry about right now.
no, but, well,
Not for this.
not for this, right? So it's anything from this, it's going to be this line and these existing structures that we've identified.
Right,
Right.
Okay,
it's 5 of them.
all right.
Can we number these so that we can at least say number 1, number 2?
Yeah, we're going order, start left to right. One,
For the
two,
purpose of
three,
the variance, we just need the closest one
which would be the woodshed.
for the apron.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that.
That's really close.
All right, so what's
But
the,
when they built the ones that were right on the stone wall in the first place, did anybody get a variance for those at the time?
no, probably not.
Oh, okay. All right, so we can't fit into.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, there were no
Yeah.
building permits.
Yeah, well,
Naturally.
so the larger structure is the A-frame. All right, so what is the A-frame gonna need to say? And this is 40 foot.
This is right, it's 5'8" or
5'8".
something off the line.
All right, so we'll say it's 6, so it's gonna need a 34-foot variance.
I say 35, 34 plus, so.
All right, but in that ballpark.
Yeah.
And then, this shed is this? Chris,
Look, which one?
this one?
Yep,
Okay,
6.3, something like that. So, you know what that said?
I'm not seeing that, I'm just,
Yeah, it's 6 degrees.
Okay.
Doubled in here.
all right. Okay, and then,
6 in the woodshed.
6.3 is that one, Chris.
That one is, the woodshed is 6.8.
okay, that's this, the
Yeah.
answer from the corner.
Yeah.
And this woodshed is bigger than,
144, yeah.
okay.
And then the shed here, yeah.
Well, that one,
That one appears to be, it says
28.
23.7. So yeah, would be its own, well.
Okay, so-
Unless we just grant a whole 35 foot.
Well, that's what I was suggesting.
Oh, yeah,
Dan
maybe
suggested
one size
is-
fits all.
And we make it one size fit all, give them 35 feet on all of them.
Okay.
Those would all be separate motions if you did with the other.
Right.
yeah, no, that makes more sense, all right.
As long as we can do that.
As long as it's also clear that that variance extends exclusively to those buildings that are already on the property and that nothing is going on after.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
Basically, this is a lot line move where
We're fixing.
we're recognizing what's already there.
Yeah, no.
is somebody living in the A-frame?
No, it's.
No, it's a shed, they're just calling it an A-frame because of the sign.
It's
But
I think he uses it for a boat. It's a boat storage.
Like a
carport for a boat.
About point.
My understanding, Mr. Shermerhurd, didn't he just pass
He
away?
just died, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, so, and he was living back here, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, so, all right, so what we, again, just need to address a variance that deals with anything that is larger than the 144 square feet and within 40 feet of that line right there.
So it would be,
Blanket.
yes, a 35-foot variance encompassing pre-existing buildings.
Okay. All right. So,
That should cover all.
you're comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Are you comfortable with that?
One variance covering all with a condition that there
That
are
they're
no, no more buildings built,
Right.
Yeah.
Within-
Only buildings that are currently there.
then I'm okay with that.
yeah. Right, if
Yeah.
we use pre-existing, because obviously if somebody went and to request something for a variance, it would, we kind of be onto it at that
Yeah.
point, so.
And I just wanna just clarify something. This house, when it was built, which was post 91, there was nothing here in 91 on White property. Okay, there's a variance in record with the town to establish this keyhole lot as well as to put that house on that piece of property. So I don't think that this has been like this for 20 years. I think it's. a-
2003 is when Mr. Martin took title.
From
From
Schermerhorn, Schermerhorns, who lived in the basement. It's a two-family house, if you want to really look at it the way it is. Okay, it was built and the variance was for a keyhole lot and to put the apartment in the basement for Schermerhorn. So that was 2003? Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, I,
Martin
I
told
won't
me
contest
that
that,
when he
but it wasn't in
went in,
the.
that he's been putting the sheds in since.
I'm just correcting, earlier you said that this was like this since 86.
No, the Martins owned, George Martin and Joan Martin
They owned the
owned the
whole
entire
parcel.
property, yes.
Yes. Okay, but there were no structures at this location at all in 86. It
No,
was
no,
bare, bare.
right, their property.
Again, for the sake of approving a variance that allows the planning board to go ahead and approve this as the separation between the properties.
Mhm.
That is the intent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I want to address, any other questions? We're comfortable with the blanket variant? Again, ZBA hereby determines that the request of setback and lot line variances are an exempt type 2 action pursuant to Title 6 NYC section 671.5C16, and no further action pursuant to seeker is required. Okay,
Chairman Hughes,
I,
Vice Chairman Lack,
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leoni,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit, Board Member Mitchell. Aye.
so the next thing we need to do is set a public hearing for this variance request.
I will move to set a public hearing for January 16th at 7 PM or soon after. For Donald and Cynthia Martin. We're 79, that's her.
It's on Turnbull Road.
Yeah. Oh, 1035 Turnbull Road, Delancey, New York. SBL 65-2-28.2 for a side yard variance to account for three existing structures.
Second that.
Vice Chairman Lack.
Aye.
Board Member Leoni.
Aye.
Chairman Hughes,
Aye.
Board Member Ganster.
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit, Board Member Mitchell. Aye.
You'll be representing this well,
Yes,
okay.
you might have someone else from my office here who might have to be at the conference.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, I have a question. Is there any way we can get to the planning board 2 nights later? Provided.
In January.
Yeah, you should be able to do that.
Okay, okay, great. That would be wonderful.
I don't see any wrinkle in this other than it just involves more than one structure.
Understood.
What's the date of the planning board meeting?
It would be the 18th. If
Oh,
we're the
okay.
16th, the planning board.
Yeah.
Because the planning board, when because I did the application for the lot line adjustment. Because of their rules for that.
Right.
They told us we would have to wait 30 days, I believe.
30 days from our.
Didn't they say that at the planning board meeting?
No.
I wasn't
You
aware
have
that
to-
we could wait, that we could go the 2 days.
Yeah, you can go the 2 days, once they approve the variance, the lot line adjustment can be done right away.
Oh, okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
but
you
I
have a
just-
certain amount of time to file it, maybe that's theirs, at the county.
Yeah, I thought that
Yeah,
the 10 days kicked in.
Yeah, a lot line adjustment doesn't require a public hearing.
No,
Okay, good, so then they should be able to resolve it 2 days later than
well,
we
that
are.
gets, usually lot line adjustment
Okay.
get referred to me.
No,
Yeah,
that's okay, I mean, I'm just,
Yeah.
because the way they talked, it wasn't gonna be able to be seen until the February meeting.
Yeah, well, it's possible they thought it might need a public hearing, but in case, their
Okay.
January meeting would set a February public hearing, but it was.
I think it'll be fine.
Okay, wonderful, so.
No, that's fine. Yeah,
That's what my goal is. Okay, thank you so very much, appreciate your help.
So, well, just. Let's get that application.
the lot line?
Yeah, do we have that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because it was on the schedule last month.
Yeah, we'll just schedule it, we'll just put it on there.
Okay, if you can do that, that's great.
Yeah, we
I mean,
will.
I just was not aware
Yeah,
that.
and I'll let them know Thursday that we're gonna, I'll give them a heads up.
Perfect.
I'll see you
Oh, it's
Thursday.
paid, okay, it's done.
Thanks.
It was, it was based on the variance.
Yes, right, okay, no, we set it in motion. All right,
Oh, my name yet, those one.
You're next.
Fine.
thank you for being patient. Appreciate it. Joseph, your seat.
I'm only coming up here because you ask everybody else to come up here.
Well, may I grab one of the pointers and just kind of give us an idea of what.
All right, well, my wife and I have property on Mariahville Lake. And when this land was divided up into lakefront properties 100 years ago, none of these lots are big enough to build anything on without a variance. All right, the lot at its widest, which is down here, is only about 90 feet wide. We have a house that sits roughly 30 feet off the lakefront, and we would like to put an addition on it. The house is not amenable for an addition on the western side, which is here. All right, and we can't go forward because it's too close to the lake already. We can't go backwards because the well and the sewage lines and the power lines all go up the back of the house. So the only place we could do it is on the easterly side of the house, right here. We have approximately 20 feet of space from the existing edge of the house to our property line. I met with Chris a few weeks ago upstairs, and he suggested that we have the property surveyed because in the overlays, the satellite overlays, it doesn't look like the property line is where the property line is. The property was surveyed last Tuesday. I do not have the formal results yet, but according to the initial conversation with the surveyors, it looks like the properties are what we expect the properties are, right? So there is approximately 20 feet from the edge of the house to the existing fence, which goes here. Then there is a 10-foot right of way right here for some properties up here on Lake Shore Road. And then the existing property here, the home right here, currently is vacant and under foreclosure. All right, so
Wait, this is South Shore Road up here?
this is South Shore Road up here, okay, and then the lake is here.
What is this?
That is our garage.
Oh, okay.
That you approved a variance for 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So that is the existing garage, alright, and there's a shed here that was there when we bought the house. And then the house is existing house is here, and we would like to put an addition here on the easterly side of the house. In this roughly 20 foot of space, this addition would be approximately 10 foot wide by 26 foot long. We want to add an additional bedroom, and then the back end of this, there's a bedroom here in the house. And we want to convert that to a master bedroom because we're not getting any younger and we're tired of going upstairs, which is the bedroom we're using currently. There's only 2 bedrooms in the house. It's a very small house.
2 stories.
So, pardon?
2-story house.
Technically, yes, there's 1 room upstairs, which is the bedroom with a bathroom.
So you're attaching this to the existing house?
Yes, this would be attached to the easterly wall of the existing house. Alright, and there's a window approximately here and a window in here somewhere going out of the house that are 32-inch wide windows, which we would then convert to doorways to go one into the new bedroom and one into a walk-in closet to convert the other bedroom into a master bedroom. So we are asking for a variance so that we can put this on the house. I have already gotten DEC approval. I got that first.
So it's proximity to the lake?
For proximity to the lake, because I said the house itself, the existing house is only about 30, 1 feet from the water line. At this end, it's only about 26 feet from the water line. All right, DEC has given us permission, the permission is here, you already have a copy of it here. All right, and we are not anticipating going ahead with this project until springtime. But I'm trying to get all the approvals that I can so I can get things lined up, because I'll be gone in 2 weeks. I understand I'm supposed to be here for the next meeting. I don't know about a meeting after that, but after a conversation with Chris and some people upstairs that said I could have somebody here in my
Yes,
place.
yeah,
And that I could either be on the phone or online or something to participate. I need to find out how to do all of that before I go away.
Yeah, you can't participate on that, but you can have somebody come.
on your behalf, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Neighbor,
okay, they told me I
relative.
could also be, well, anyway.
That's
I'm not
kind
gonna
of
argue
changed
that.
over time. There was a point where you could.
Well, when I did the garage, everything was being done that way.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
because
You
of
know, right, because of COVID.
right,
I thought it was, and I thought I understood it to still be that I had to have somebody here, but I could participate remotely with somebody here.
we
as
were
my
doing
spokesperson.
that, but then Zoom became problematic because people were interrupting with other nonsense in the meeting, so it's,
Okay, well,
but again.
everybody upstairs has to understand that, because as of a week or 10 days ago, that's what I was told.
Well, you can listen in, but you can't participate,
Okay.
where before we were having people do that, because that was the safe way to do it.
I have tried to already arrange for someone to be here in my stead. I don't know if that's gonna work out, but.
Okay,
And is that for every meeting or just the next meeting?
you mean,
Well, I know that providing this goes ahead, right, there's a next meeting on January the 16th.
Right.
And it has to go out to public hearing and then it has.
no, that would
That
be,
would-
oh, that
that
would
would
be
be
the
the
public
public hearing, and if we have all the pertinent information, we could anticipate, making a decision at the January meeting. And then it
Oh,
would be
okay,
done.
okay. I have arranged for someone to be at that meeting. It's just
Okay.
if somebody had to be here in February, I don't have that covered.
Yeah, no, hopefully it won't go any further, because it's as straightforward as it does appear to be, so. So if the actual distance is 10 feet,
Right, when this is said and done, there will be 10 feet between the.
Plus or minus inches, I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm waiting for the results of the survey. As I said, right now, from the edge of the house to the existing fence, as close as I can measure it with a tape measure is 20 feet. It might be 19 feet 11 inches, it might be 20 feet 1 inches, but it's essentially 20 feet from the edge of the house to the existing
And the
fence.
addition is 10 feet.
And the addition would be 10 feet, that does not include the eve over top, which would be about another foot. That's off the ground, I don't know if that makes a difference to you or not.
so what is the width of the lot back where the house is?
The width of the lot in here is, it's 90 or 91 feet, something of that nature. Up in the top is about 75 feet.
Right, so, yeah, we're looking at 10, 45, 75, and 12,
87.
okay. So because.
Prorate, yeah, it's living space. so
Right, it's
prorate.
dwelling. So. And it would normally be 40 feet. Okay.
A second, right now.
75.
Yeah, so it's prorated off, all right, so 80,
75 cents, roughly half, right? 87 over 175.
right,
87, yeah,
Call it half.
right by.
It's like 49 and
49.7.
okay, so that times the 40 is, all right.
So I call it 20.
20 feet.
So he needs a 10 for variance.
Yeah, there we go.
I thought I had made that for a
Well, we just needed to make sure that.
What you made clear is that it will be 10 feet off the lot.
Plus or minus a couple
Right,
inches.
right,
Yeah.
what we were just determining was the law was requiring 20 feet. So you need 10 feet of that 20 is the variance you're asking for, that's what we were establishing.
Which
And I
is,
try to play by the rules.
Yeah.
We love that.
Hey, I'm new to the area.
so. We all understand what we're looking at here?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I will address seeker. ZBA hereby determines that this request for an individual setback and lot line variance is an exempt type 2 action pursuant to Title 6 NYCRR section 671.5 C 16. And no further action pursuant to seeker is required.
Second.
Thank you.
Chairman Gage,
All right,
Board Member Boggs,
All right.
Board Vice Chairman White.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster.
Aye.
Board Member Leahy.
Aye.
Member Pettit.
Aye.
Board Member Melton.
Aye.
and if somebody would set a public hearing for this.
I make a motion to set a public hearing on January 16th or thereabout for Joseph and Patricia Tercini at 270 South Shore Road, SBL 35.10-2-1.1, seeking a side yard variance of 10 feet under ordinance section 70.126, section 2 of the town of Waynesburg, zoning ordinance.
Board Member Boggs.
All right.
Board Member Pettit.
Aye.
Chairman Gage.
Aye.
Vice Chairman White.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster. Board Member Leoni.
Aye.
Board Member Melton. Aye.
Okay,
Just a question.
Sure.
Right? Because the meeting is January the 16th, and I know I will be out of town.
Okay.
And I do have arranged for someone to come.
Right.
But if by any chance that meeting is canceled for weather reasons and so on and so forth. Can I be somehow notified so that I can rearrange for someone to come in my
Yeah.
I
stead,
think you would.
Yeah.
you know?
right, that can be done. Yeah.
We have the phone number, we need.
Just to make a note of that. So
Yeah.
that, you know, I mean, obviously, I hope everything goes smoothly, but if something happened, the meeting got canceled, then I'd have to make long distance arrangements for somebody to be here for another meeting.
Yeah, the only thing you would need to do is just write something out that you're appointing so-and-so to act in your behalf for the sake of this variance
That
application.
person can just bring that with them and
Yes,
sign
and
it.
then just go into the public record.
Okay, very good, thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right,
Yeah.
okay. Kruger Energy,
That's me.
I need to take a quick break.
Sure, take your time.
Yeah.
You don't have, it could be 7 to 10 days, today's 7 days.
Yeah, that's under other.
With the town, I mean, I know they don't have to be filed with the town, but was the town?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay,
All right. We can put them in the folder.
absolutely, I just.
Introduce myself first.
Okay, Tony, yeah.
Yeah, Tony's he's on Zoom right now, I think.
He is. Hi, Tony, I'm here.
You can't respond.
He can hear you. He can't respond. He's in the proximity.
Yeah.
You might hear the high Tony in my voice.
Okay, my understanding is there's a request for a interpretation of the zoning ordinance having to do with clear cutting and.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yeah. So my name is Michael Burnett, with Kruger Energy. And Kruger owns around a little over 600 megawatts of wind, solar, hydro, across North America, including a number of hydro facilities in the state of New York. I met Charlie to my left, the landowner, with property off of Alexander Road, the early winter of 2022. Noticed the property was in proximity to the nearby substation up the street on Alexander Road, and it was mostly cleared in the back, looking like an ideal site for solar. And so we got to an agreement and entered into agreement between March and May of 2022. Subsequent to that, there was a solar ordinance passed in 2023 that addressed a number of very good intentioned sort of code and points of the code that address a lot of abutters, respect for abutters and setbacks that we all aim to address in the planning board setting. We have been to the planning board over the summer as well, this past summer of 2023. What came up during this was some trees that had been deforested because there's a specific code in the new deforestation code of the solar code of 2023 passed that said, you know, you can't deforest sites to construct solar energy facilities. And the interesting thing is, while I had this property under agreement with Charlie, there was some very good debate about protecting the residents and a solar committee that was tasked with creating this new code in 2023. And a lot of the back and forth was all about, well, we don't want solar developers to come in, cut down a bunch of trees, and then come to the planning board and say, hey, here's our existing conditions. It's a completely cleared site. Can we now build solar on it? It was sort of jump starting the whole process. And there was a very good law in mind, and I believe that was the intent of why they put in the law, so that people would go through the process properly, start from square one and submit the code. In this case, like I said, we didn't get into the agreement until 2022. I wasn't working at this company back in 2020 when the majority of the site was cleared, and Charlie will address a lot of this, but we believe this is a simple interpretation that is not cleared for solar. It happened well before we showed up, but and we don't want to be punished for that. But B, also, there's a provision within our attorney wrote up that basically says that even though, you know, we think it's clear of the language deforestation provision, that basically the even if the deforestation provision were ambiguous on the subject, New York law would require the provision be construed in favor of the property owner. As New York's highest court, the Court of Appeals, has repeatedly held, since zoning regulations are in derogation of the common law, they must be strictly construed against the municipality which has enacted and seeks to enforce them. This is Allen v. Adamy, and it was cited in the 1976 court case. So we believe we're covered both legally on the appeal side, but also our interpretation of the code is that this was not cut down, these trees were not cut down to build a solar. It was a prior subdivision that Charlie was on the record in submitting a great number of plans and to do both single family housing and senior housing on the site on a series of meetings from 2018, 2019 to 2020. Again, prior to us. So we think there's even parts of the code that's actually kind of in support of what we're doing, because it's cleared now, and we're not intending to. We'll have some clearing that's allowed to do this additional clearing that will need to be done, but not in a deforestation sort of defined circumstance. So that's a quick history of it and our intent, and wanted to come requesting that. Well, that we basically look for a determination that 5-year tree clearing does not apply to parcel in hand here, which is section block, we'll say 65, just lot 65. I believe lot 15.11, 65-2, 15.11, and additional properties owned by Mr. Rhodes that we're not building a solar farm. Anyway,
So, had you submitted a request for a special use permit for this solar project?
we, per the code, they wanted to sit down first with a sketch plan. So,
Okay, the site plan,
yeah,
yes.
and they require that as a first step in their code to
Yeah,
formally submit an application, and during this point, this is where the question of the trees came up.
all right, in the site plan, is there an intent to cut down trees or remove some forestation at all, or?
There'll be some small sparsely trees, but not they define deforestation specifically as clear cutting in a single contiguous area exceeding 12,000 square feet. So like, you know, they don't want you can cut down a tree that's in the middle of a field, but they don't want a clear cut of a contiguous area of forest.
Right, not exceeding 20,000 square feet.
Right.
Is what, so, and is there any intent in your proposal to move, again, a substantial amount of forestation at all, or?
Our intent in the proposal is to clear a few trees that still exist on the property.
I would say less than a third of it.
Okay.
And I got pictures I can show you, because when I did clear the land, I didn't, first of all, I didn't clear cut it. It was rough land to begin with. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the property, but there was no dealing with it with drainage or the trees were up and down, this, that. And so I made a deal with the logger that he would take, if I gave it all to him, he would come in, do the bulk of the work. We would save the scenery trees, shagbark hickories, and I got pictures if I can show you, there's still a lot of there. And I say a lot, 20. And so we left it there, and I basically painted a whole picture. I put the nice road in, I got the pad for the house, I paid an engineer to design the septic system, I brought the sand in. When I bought the property in 2017, it was zoned residential multiple family. So in my mind, it was, I could build myself some apartment, senior housing. And I wanted to build a bunch of single floor housing for older people, and so I started clearing the land myself, and I put the driveway in away from the neighbors so that when cars come in, the lights wouldn't be on them. The setback was 75 feet from the road. I put the first spot back in roughly 400 feet off the road. Giving everybody, I'm trying to paint the nice picture. The property drops off. I can show you some pictures. I cut the trees down to get the view. And I went to the board. I hired 2 different lawyers. I hired John Eisman in 2000. My dates might be a little wrong, but I talked in 2017-18, and he used to be chairman of the board, and the local guy, and he didn't, he was getting older and stuff, so that wasn't going good. In the meantime, I was working, so when I'm in the construction business too, so my phone would ring. That went to the back burner. 1.5 to 2 years later, I hired Joanne Darcy Crumlins, which is here. Came to the board with the same thing. The neighbors came out, they didn't want it because of the water. I think that was basically the big, well, they didn't want the traffic. And
This is the multi-family.
right, so.
Yeah.
And once again, I know it's no excuse, but I was busy working, you know what I mean? And I was tired of paying lawyers, and I hired 2 wrong lawyers. Yeah, so if you guys don't think I hired a lawyer, those are not your people. But anyways, so then all of a sudden I get, and I was gonna build it, because it was beautiful, I built in Carlisle, you get $800-900 a month. If you go to Waynesburg, you get $1,400-1,500 a month. Same lumber, same labor, everything's the same, so why not build it in Waynesburg?
And anybody who wants to look at the property, they're more than welcome to drive back in, you see the nice wide road I put in for the fire department. I mean, I did everything, and I was gonna build there, and at a later date, when I got slow, I would go hire another lawyer. Present my case and say, listen, you know, your zoning says multiple family. I didn't buy it, ask to change it to multiple zoning. You know, and I was a little disappointed in not getting it, but I was, you know. And I got documentation of when I have approved septic system designed by the county and approved by ABD Engineering. It's late in 2000. Late 19, early 20. And then I forget, what day did you guys get a hold of me?
I want to say February 2022, so sometime in February of 2022 is when we first talked. I probably sent my letter.
And I drilled a well in the property as well, you know, I mean, I spent a lot of money, and I got pictures of my phone, I elevated the site where the house was gonna be to get gravity septic. So we'd have to put a pumping system in, and I mean, I got all these pictures, I can show all you people, if you wanna look at the property, everybody here is more than welcome to drive in there and check it out. And it just wasn't going through, and you know what, I'm getting older, and so they came to me, I was like, you know what, there's already one storage field down the road, a huge one. And my property, my outside, you know, it's off the road, you're barely gonna see it. I mean, barely gonna see it, it'll be less visible than the other one. And so I guess, you know, that's it in a nutshell.
And that's,
It was cleared in anticipation of building multifamily housing.
Excuse me?
Multi-tenant, it was cleared in anticipation of multi-tenant
Yeah, definitely.
housing.
And when was that? When did you do when was the logging there?
So I started clearing right at the beginning, you know, small scale, put the road in, cut the trees down, I was burning and stuff, and that was slow, and the neighbors complained, and Mr. Chris Valenti, the DEC officer, would come over with me, and it was kind of funny, they show up in their two cars, and they said I was burning tires, I said, well, check it out, they go, we're good. You know, they'll need your permission, they came back, and in the end, me and Mr. Valenti became basically friends, because you could see that I was not doing nothing wrong. I wasn't burning tires, I wasn't burning diesel fuel, you know, I mean, I had a Rosebud propane torch, the stuff was dry, you know, I have an excavator with a thumb on it, it was capable.
and Mr. Vice Chair was saying what year approximately when all this was happening.
Oh, so yeah, so like I said, I bought the property roughly 17, started touring at 17, 18, 19, I had, the fall of 19, I heard, we made a joint venture, me and a logging guy, we cleared it all, with the exception of saving certain trees. And if anybody's interested, look at those pictures, I can show it to you on my phone, I took a look at it, I took some pictures just today.
So we're kind of approaching the 5-year.
And it's
The 5-year mark, is kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, the 5-year for, sorry,
Go ahead.
the 5-year for deforestation is also in anticipation, from what I understand, in anticipation of solar.
But I'm
That
trying to even avoid that
Yeah,
question,
like
if we
we-
run out
we don't
the
even
5
need
years,
to-
we don't even get to that question.
Right.
Right, but in the solar law, again, my understanding was that you couldn't clear more than 20,000 square feet.
Right, but isn't that what it's 5 years of the solar project? And if you cleared it 5 years ago,
Yeah, but
it
what,
can't be tied to the project.
The other
but that
piece of
doesn't
it,
make sense, because my understanding that this was just to limit the amount of deforestation that could occur. Because we had this once before, in fact, we granted a variance on the amount of clear cutting.
the second sentence is forested sites shall not be deforested to construct solar energy facilities, which if you are reading it to the letter of this, they cannot be cleared for this specific purpose, and if they are, you must exhaust the 5 years. If he was clearing for something else entirely, and then it's kind of like, well, it's clear now because I was gonna do something else and I did not have an
Well,
opportunity.
and the reason I went to solar is because the town, they turned me down, you know, I had money up for lawyers, and I was like, you know what?
We have probably sufficient documentation that would.
Yeah, we do, I mean,
That would
yes, we do.
support that, that would be my only rebuttal to that would be. If you can say, hey, look, I've gone through the process of doing all of that, this is my plan.
Well, yeah, and it wasn't done for the intent, but even still, the idea was, in some ways, this, I could see where this statement could be considered to be contradictory, because the first thing, the forested sites shall not be deforested to construct solar energy facilities. And then it goes on to say, however, clear cutting more than 3 inches in diameter breast height in single contiguous areas exceeding 20,000 square feet is prohibited. So it does allow you to do some deforestation less than 20,000 square feet.
It's the contradiction of the two, I think that's been.
You know, I mean, I don't know if people want to see it, but I have a picture here of the road I put in, it's 30 feet wide. It's black buildings on it, it's smooth as smooth.
Yeah, again, I don't have a problem with it because again. I remember this came up in discussion.
Yeah.
And again, we actually had looked to do a provided variance for additional clear cutting from the original solar law. In fact, Bill Wenzel and I, we did a site visit and then determined actually there wasn't really, we had to define a tree. That's
I
kind
do
of where that-
remember this, yeah.
Yeah, that, you know, what constitutes a tree and then the diameter and breast
Breast height.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
how it
because-
is that I have to, yes, because they were brush cutting in that case.
Right.
Before.
so Chris, now, they're basing their concern on your opinion of how that is interpreted. I mean, what was your feeling then on that?
So after talking to the planning board. The other issue, the biggest issue is. The 3 lots up front,
Okay,
that's where the planning board has an issue with. Okay.
Charlie,
those
those
are
are lots,
neighboring
aren't they?
properties?
Those
Right.
are-
Those are his.
So because of the setbacks and because of the 400-foot setback. These 3 parcels have to be involved in the solar project as participating parcels.
Right, so you own all those parts.
I do. So
He does.
what happened is you got a bat law, you cannot cut trees down from help me out, March 31st till you gotta cut down in the winter time. Okay, so last fall, in the time, I went in there and I could, I still want to put some houses in there, I sold Mr. Brillo built a lot down lower, like in 1920. And then, so I still got 3 lots there to sell. So I went in there and I cut out where the driveway's gonna go, where the house is gonna go, where the septic's gonna go, cut down all the trees that are not desired. And if you go through, if you drive by there and look, you'll see there's some nice maples, not many, I wish there was more. But there's maples and there's some oaks and there are a few healthy ash trees, which don't last very much. But I saved the better trees, you can always cut them down. So another question I had to the board, because now you can cut trees down. You know, I would like to, between now and the spring, is finish painting that picture for the driveway going for the houses. I mean, that's my land there, that's my land, I mean, why am I subject to this, that, what if it was, you know, it's different piece of land, it's subdivided over, how many years ago now? 18?
Is it the 400-foot setback?
That's,
Yeah.
it's the setback, Charlie, so it's the 400-foot setback, so what you would have to do is.
400 foot back from the line, I cut the trees down on my other piece of property.
Yeah, so I think what he's trying to say is that under the rules, because of our easements and setbacks agreements that we have in our lease. You're technically a participating property, so we asked you, do you want us to put the lots on the plan? And that's really how we would address it, and my understanding was you guys said, well, no, I guess. Since he owns the property, we don't need to do that, but all we have to do on the planning board side is specifically just put those lots on the plan and it's clear that it's a participating property.
Right, or like the planning board said, you would have to take these solar panels and move them back.
What's that?
You know what I'm saying?
Or
You'd have to-
cut into the other properties 400 feet and give that the 400 feet.
Provide
to
for the adequate
solar.
set.
But if I could just add, so the trees I did cut down, they're like towards the road. And I left the trees on the back for a buffer because I wanna sell these lots. And somebody might not wanna see that, that thing sits way in there, 400 foot plus the fence, you're gonna be how far off the road?
Oh,
500,
I mean,
600 feet?
600, this is easily.
So when I sell
600
these
feet
lots,
off the
somebody,
road
it's
from the
gonna be like,
solar
you got no
facility
neighbors.
here is 600 feet at least.
you know, you basically got a fenced in area in the back, you wanna have an animal, you already gotta meet their fence.
What is the fenced in acreage of the proposed solar farm?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Fenced in acreage of the proposed solar.
Oh,
So it's not necessarily an issue on those there's lots of where trees are being cut down, it's just not because they're within 400 feet of the solar panel array.
No, I think they're adding participating
If they're participating lots.
Because they're participating lots, trees cut down
Yeah.
there, we're adding to the trees
Got
cut
it, got
down
it.
on the.
Yeah, I guess I just don't, I mean,
So,
we can all agree to this, right? There's not really participate, so if somebody else owned that land.
Yeah, I don't understand. My understanding, that provision was to limit the amount of deforestation for solar projects.
Right, I'm not building solar on this property.
Yeah, okay,
Well-
but they would still have to, well,
they're within
But
the
are you
general
doing-
area, and therefore they're part of the solar project, whether
Whether you're using them that way or
you're
not.
using them that way or not, because they're buffer parcels.
Right, but
They're
if somebody else
considered
owned
part of
those
it.
properties, if another, like Mr. Perillo bought that land for me, and he couldn't cut behind his.
right, yeah, there's no restriction for cutting, wood on your own property. period.
Not yet, right?
Clear cut it to your, heart's desire, but again, the idea was to restrict the amount for a solar project. The only other thing, the setbacks, again, if you were to try to develop those other lots, then. So you're saying that it's, the planning board is taking into consideration the other lots that he owns?
Yes,
And, and including that whatever clearing he had done on those other lots?
right. So that's what the determination is on.
Because I cut those trees just last year.
Have to make.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, we're not building any
Back.
structure
Right.
on
Yeah.
any of that property, it's just there for setback.
That, none of that property is used for solar, and I use any access for
Right.
power, nothing.
Yes.
I think the whole thing was where things got confusing a bit. Simply because we were trying to be in compliance with your rules, you guys put in the 2023 solar code. A sort of a line item for, well, this is what it is for non-participating property owners, you need to have X amount of setback, and this one is for participating property owners, and so we were just trying to address your own code. That was all.
Yeah, of course, but the setbacks apply to the construction of a solar project where the project needs to adhere to these setbacks.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
so.
Right.
I mean, I don't see why. If you own all those parcels, even though I don't know how that would work, because if you have a solar project on certain parcels. But then if you wanted to build a house, say 200 feet, where it says that 400 feet is required for the placement of the solar part of it. But
We would
just say what I'm saying.
The solar people are gonna have to meet the setback, because
Right,
there's an existing line where my line ends, I don't wanna build tight to my line either.
right, no, they would have to do that.
Yeah, so I don't understand why me cutting those trees down on my other land. Analyze.
I don't see that either. That doesn't make sense.
This was more just the
Thank you.
incorporation of participating versus non-participating, so
Yeah.
maybe it just gets removed. as
And on top of
I see
that,
there-
I did not cut the
They have to
trees
be
down
the same property.
close to the solar farm, because I left the buffer there intentionally, and the trees did not help me there. I mean,
They're gonna have to move the panels away from those lots.
Well,
Unless
right, but
we
then
gave
that's,
them- Unless those lots forfeited those 400 feet into the solar property, right?
well, the 400 feet has to do with
He would have,
occupied residences.
Yeah.
There's a 200 minimum, 200-foot buffer minimum,
For non-participating.
yeah.
so you still need 200 feet no matter what.
Yeah.
So that being said, if they would go ahead and do that, the 200 feet means nothing, but somebody could always build next to them, so it always,
Then it's on them to do that, but at least the solar project met, the guidelines set by the solar. Project.
and as they will now, because there's no houses there.
Right,
But the lot line is drawn there, that's where your issue is, if I'm understanding it correctly. Like if your arrays go to here and your lot line is here. And that's 100 feet, that's not sufficient for the buffer, so that's what I'm saying.
Right, but they're not gonna be allowed to by your town, by the setback alone, because they're only gonna be able to get up to 200 feet from my line.
Right.
So they're, they're gonna have to be, those panels. They're gonna have to put 200 feet.
Or a
off the line.
lot line adjustment, just.
That's
That's
exactly
where
what
we're
I'm
going
saying.
with this, is I think if we do a lot line adjustment.
It's a safer.
But to be honest, I don't really wanna lose any more land, because I wanna, those lots are like 6, 8 acres. I mean, if I had to make this deal go, would I do it? Yes.
We'll pay for it.
You know, we-
It's actually already pre-negotiated, with these, he's gonna get through for it. Anyway, well,
My point is, my main point is, it was not clear for solar.
yeah. Agreed.
Right, and that,
I think we can all agree on that, am I correct?
yeah. And the amount cleared certainly wasn't 20,000 square feet or more, correct?
No, it was, I mean, when I
yeah.
cleared the property, there was like 26, 28 acres.
Oh,
In the
okay,
back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it wasn't for the sake of a solar
It was
project.
not.
Right, and a significant amount of it was done more than 5 years ago.
yes, correct.
And he filed all of the permits and all of the requests with us.
Yeah, I had documentation, like I said, I had John Nyman here, I had Teresa Beck, or I had, Joanne Crum was here representing me.
Yeah.
And the neighbors didn't want it, and like I said, I was busy working at the time, and I could see it wasn't going good, so I was like, let's not throw good money after bad money. I went on to my next project, these people approached me, here we are.
Okay, so what exactly did the planning board find objectionable?
The tree cutting, is why they're here.
And if I,
Yeah.
But they're asking for an interpretation of the ordinance. And so they're saying that more tree cutting than what's allowed was done.
They're saying that tree cutting was done within
There's
the
not a
5 years.
list of, they have a list of questions.
Yeah, it's that first email.
But again, but the tree cutting wasn't done with the intent of, constructing a solar project.
Correct.
Well, I think that's why we're here, for that to be interpreted.
Okay.
That's why we're here.
So then
The planning board told them that they had to come here.
And we are interpreting the deforestation to determine whether or not their specific circumstances meet or fail to.
My determination was based off of the planning board meeting.
Okay,
Now this is their opportunity to prove that, which I'm fine being wrong, I mean.
okay, any portion of the property that has been clear cut in excess of the area described shall not be included in the application. And for a period of 5 years following the clear cutting.
But like I said, the main concern was the
Well, it's-
participating properties.
Right, I mean, to be honest, Teresa had mentioned that if that were a concern, you could ask for a variance
Correct.
of the square feet.
Correct.
Limitation, so. But I'm not thinking that what had been previously clear cut, falls within this 5 years prohibition.
Is the additional clear cutting or cutting on the lots, does that cross the 20,000 threshold?
no,
It's one small corner, right?
Yeah, it's
on the solar side, it does.
on the solar side, it's this little area here,
It's a third of an
You
acre.
can see there's still trees there.
so.
And once again, that was left there because there were some pretty nice trees there. We said,
Yeah. And if we were a solar developer coming in here to do what was trying to prevent. This would have been cleared right away. And little sparse hickory trees would have been clear cut, but we didn't do any of that. We trying to do the right thing, and that's why we're here with hat in hand.
What has been the nature of that property at one time? I mean,
it was just heavy,
So you can wood it, not in.
had it been like hay fields at one time, not even? Okay.
Back in the 20s maybe, or like
Yeah, I got to
60s.
think of the big hickory that I say there, but
It's safe to assume that at one time it was cleared agricultural.
Sure.
Yeah, I
And it
agree.
only takes like 4 years for it to be
But
no
here's-
longer
here's-
agricultural.
The weeds aren't on now, but believe it or not, they're nice looking trees. They got some nice-
I don't think, yeah,
Yeah, you can see how scattered out they are,
Yeah,
you know. And there's
it's
a
been
little-
decades since it was farmland, I know that.
Down the bottom,
Some vacant land,
so high and dry, you know.
right.
vacant wooded land.
I mean, the rest of that was all woods. And the land looks like such, so I stumped it all for, you know, I need to go in there and mow that now, because I got a road built in there for. You know, I was gonna go, 50 houses.
Right.
My engineering team loved this road too. They said, wow, Mike, you finally found the perfect site, there's already a road built in here?
All right.
Yeah, just one more thing, then it's fine, so shut up.
No, that's fine. It's,
So, when Mr. Parlow came out there, he agreed with me too, 100%, but he went back to the board, and that's when it started going. Am I right, Chris? Yes.
so this prohibition on the period of 5 years for clear cutting. The thinking is that it doesn't really apply because it had not been done for the purpose of a solar farm.
Either the provision that says it wasn't cut for solar project, or we can find that a significant amount of it was done more than 5 years ago, and therefore the 5-year prohibition.
Yeah,
I think it's easier.
There was a little bit of, there was trees there less than 5 years ago, like in 2019, 2020 is when I did the majority of the clearing.
yeah,
Like the 20 acres plus, and but that, the 5 years won't be for one more year,
okay. So that
but it wasn't made for.
the majority of that clearing, what kind of things had been cleared when you did that?
I put all the roads in, I put the spot.
No, but I mean, what were they like, just shrubs or
Scrub brush.
scrub brush?
No, they were real trees.
They were,
Oh, yeah.
and so you had a log?
Yeah, eventually I had a log.
All right,
But there was a lot of scrub brush too, it wasn't just all trees.
I mean, there was some scrub, but in the deep of the woods, it was all basically 80% hardwood. But the ground was so uneven, there was nothing you could do with it, bedrock's down 18 inches there.
yeah,
So, but the way the bedrock, I mean, the land worked perfectly, it all flowed down. I cleaned it up, I ground over the stumps, that's set for a golf course. I mean, it's nice.
So if that's our data point, then we're well within 5 years, so what we have to look at then is whether or not the deforestation it can be interpreted, because I think what. We're just trying to do is establish like. Great, there were enough trees that had been taken out prior to 5 years, but that's not. Now the data point we have, so it's whether or not we will interpret it to be. It's the. Deforestation for deforestation or deforestation specifically for solar, because it can be read either way, that's what you figure.
right. But there is no prohibition on deforestation other than what is,
Other than for solar.
other than for solar.
Right.
Again, if you have your own property, you can do with it, as you see fit, especially if you have another project in mind, or you just don't like trees or something, but.
Somebody can do this. And then-
Yeah, I-
Say, oh, look, now I can put it solar.
Well,
They'd have to go to the trouble of hiring 2 lawyers, filing a bunch of things, I don't know how much.
Exactly.
Is the juice worth the squeeze?
That was a public issue then. too.
But,
yeah.
It was well done.
Yeah, it's not like, there are foils that support all of the things that Charlie's saying, so I.
Do we need a motion?
yeah, I'm just trying to think, what we're gonna target, and that's. that the prior clear cutting was not done for the purpose of a solar project, there shouldn't be considered as exceeding the 20,000 square feet.
Right, and only new cutting should be considered as for 20,000 square feet, which would allow them to consider what happens with the supporting parcels.
Yeah.
And then third of an acre.
So don't cut more trees, is basically, that's what we're gonna say now. You can, but not more than 20,000, that's really the.
And we don't need to cut that.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, that you just decide. And, you know, push kind to shove, you could always ask for a variance beyond the 20,000. Even though, again, the idea of coming up with that figure was to try to limit that, that's what the concern is,
Yes.
so. And if we had to look at it as a variance request, we would, you know, be hard put to grant it unless there was really compelling reasons, so. So the clear cutting you had done was within 5 years.
No, not all of
But a portion of it.
Some of it, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what the
Yes.
planning board was concerned.
Yes.
Okay.
it. I just don't wanna, have you look up something later and say, wait a minute, you didn't. All the logging and clearing was done in January of 20.
For the purposes of a subdivision.
It was done in 2020,
2019, 2020.
2019. Okay.
And there's a couple acres in 2017, 2018 as well.
Yeah, in the very beginning, I did a lot myself,
Yesterday.
You figured it out, all right. Right.
I know.
And any other clear cutting was done prior to that time.
And you could have cut on the solar field area,
No, just.
or the other lots. I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Then you had done also other clear cutting prior to 2019,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think did you give them out?
We do have, yeah. Yeah.
They have everything you gave in.
In 2017, I cleared between 2 and 6 acres. In 2018, I cleared between 2 and 4. 2019, 3 and 4, and then in 19, I cleared basically 15 acres in the January of 2020.
And so what I have so far, clear cutting in 2019, 2020 was not done for the purpose of a solar project. And should not be considered a violation of section Q. Oh. It's not done for the purpose of a solar project. And it's not considered a violation
Or is in compliance with subsection Q.
Okay, and it's not considered subject to they're not considered hey, I don't like to use the word violation.
No, it would be.
Thank you.
Does not violate the prohibition of some section Q.
Okay, it's not, okay.
How about that?
Violates. See, let's see. It's if it's local law,
Section 7. Oh, local law, 2023,
okay,
yeah, bring that up actually. I thought it was there. Yeah, local law 1 of 2023. It's the solar energy facilities law.
okay. Okay, 1 of 2023. Solar energy facilities law, okay, clear cutting in 2019-2020 was not done for the purpose of a solar project. It is not considered a violation of the prohibition of
Of clearing in excess of 20,000 square feet.
well, we could just reference the
You want section 7, 2 in parentheses, subsection Q.
Of the town of Dwayne solar law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, local law 2023.
Right, I got that, okay. Okay, so clear cutting in 2019-2020 was not done for the purpose of a solar project and is not considered in violation of the prohibition of
Contained in.
Section 7, paren 2,
Got
paren
that.
Q.
Local law.
I got that one.
2023.
Okay, was
It's a
not
mouthful.
done for the purpose of a solar project and is not a violation of section 7(2) deforestation.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bless you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's all in this, and there's a list of all of the clearing dates in the brief that you submitted as well, which we have.
yeah,
Which is quite lovely.
So the overall size of the parcel is around 26 acres, is that correct?
Oh, it's sorry, the fence limit, yeah, I think it's a little under 26 acres, yeah. Yes.
just clean up this, I don't like this considered a violation of the prohibition. That's the,
Say the zoning board of appeals does not consider this to be a violation.
okay, all right.
Considered a violation of subsection.
But again,
Yeah. And then you don't use violation, which is why I went to violate the prohibition.
Right. Okay, project it is not considered a violation.
Of the prohibition contained in subsection.
Not be considered a violation of the prohibition.
Yeah.
In section 7(2) deforestation. So, okay. Thank you. Everybody good with this?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion that our interpretation of the zoning ordinance
Any of the clear cutting taking place
the clear cutting.
following 2019 forward.
Okay, was not done for the purpose of a solar project. And should not be considered a violation of the prohibition in 7.2 deforestation. Okay,
Second that.
thank you.
Great, sorry, should worry, you go for minutes.
I
Should like,
Board member Leoni,
I,
Vice Chairman Lag,
Aye.
Board member DeAnster,
Aye.
Board member Boggs,
Aye.
Board member Pettit,
Aye.
Board member Matos.
Thank you.
Okay, I think this will work.
Thank you.
Hopefully they're okay with it. If not,
We'll be back.
I don't know, again, duke it out with it, but in any event, that's our because I was on that committee and I remember us discussing what that prohibition was to prevent,
Yes,
large deforestation of,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, and it was great seeing the solar videos. You have videos, not necessarily of your faces, but of the audio of your deliberations, and it was good deliberation. It was very good consideration of the residents, so I appreciate you all.
So, I mean, you people see, because like I say, I'm in my own business, and so things flow, I go to that property to develop it, the mother lots in there. So I'm not gonna be in any violation of clearing the rest of my lot during this, that situation, I mean, right?
I don't see why, because those are, you're not using.
Right.
Well, they're supporting lots to. And
Well-
we're gonna have to be careful with the space between them, and I think he can tell you exactly.
Yeah.
What goes into that.
We'll sort it out.
Because
Right,
those
you're
three
gonna-
lots are considered buffer lots and supporting of the project.
Yeah.
There has to be some.
You might have to prioritize what's more important, the solar project or the development of a lot's property.
And at some point, there may need a well
lot
line
line
variance and lot line adjustment might be the easiest way to solve your.
I think that's what we have in mind and we talked about before, because we're gonna try to do that with other parts of the parcel anyway, that we're using for the better of other people in the community, so.
They just said it takes time, you know what I mean, so let's face it, we're not gonna get a building permit for a year from now. So
No,
years from
you
now-
have your work cut out for you if you're going to the planning board.
Right, so I'm saying, in the meantime, I could have those other lots.
You can do with them as you please, because that, if they might decide for one reason or another, they're not gonna approve the solar project, why should that inhibit your ability to develop your other lots? So, yeah. All
Thank
right,
you
thank
all.
you for being patient.
Thank you guys for being patient.
All right.
No, sorry, I guess mine's a little more noticeable, the other lady down there's got one as well.
We've got 3, 2 through 5,
This is my
so,
third.
okay.
The other thing, I just want to acknowledge the comments provided by Lynn Brittany, even though they don't really change the issue at hand, they would be better suited directed towards the planning. So at least that would go in the record is. We did look at it.
Beginning of the thing, we did suggest somebody to refer her attention to.
Yeah, right, but
So,
again, because it came up within this discussion here.
Okay, well, the current, so you're aware, the current practice at SHPO is that it is if the enclosed fence area is less than 50 acres, then a study needs to be done of the adjacent properties only. If it's more than 50 acres, then it has to be a half-mile survey. So, and that study can be done in the office, or it can be done, by study, I mean, someone has to look at the buildings around.
Yeah, actually, I think in the solar law, there was a provision
Archaeological sites.
for reaching out to the town historian to determine some of those issues.
So in this case, I would expect them to flag the Catholic Church as an eligible building. Not that that's gonna do anything other than that person may say, we'll make sure that there's trees green in between.
That comes up in the, again, the site plan review and then the special permit aspect of it. I'm pretty sure they have to hear the seeker, which makes reference to those items, so they'll have to.
Yeah, they'll go, but just, so the board is generally aware that's the
Yeah,
situation with the sizes.
all right, I did want to mention, last meeting, we, rendered an interpretation of accessory building setbacks. And again, there isn't anything in the ordinance that said that, for accessory buildings not requiring a building permit, there's no guidance as far as the setbacks. I think we should come up with something so that it does get addressed, because I was thinking about it. There is a prohibition on the height of a fence, right? And if you wanted, a higher fence, then you can ask for a variance. But a building of that size, especially that particular one, a 10 by 14, I know that, because I have one, it's at least 10 feet high, if not more. There's no, restriction if somebody wanted to line them up, basically creating a fence. So we should address that. Yeah, right, well, and it was a legitimate concern, so again, and other municipalities have dealt with this, so I think. Again, and I mentioned this last time, I was gonna come up with something, but I have not done specifically, we have enough to deal with tonight. So in the future, I'm gonna make suggestions, or others can do the same if they think something might be appropriate. Because I think it would be unfair to, just to dismiss it out of hand, because A, it may come up again with others, and we would be remiss at least not giving the,
So an artificial, so the concern is the artificial fence, and way to fix that would be a minimum distance.
something like that. And then, again, other municipalities have dealt, they said, they even had it where, maybe something between, 100 and 144 square feet would be something, this thing smaller than that would not be a consideration. But again, it's not like it hasn't come up, and it may very well again.
If you line 30 tiny sheds or outhouses up,
Well, that-
you're creating a,
Expensive,
it would be, but I mean, if you're spiteful enough.
yeah.
Well, that's the whole idea of that fence. I
A
think.
spike fence,
Yeah,
right?
that's the
idea is, like.
A spike shed, a spike chalet.
No, he had a spike shed, that seemed to be the contention.
Well, but again, the unique thing was that that was considered R2, but they were undersized lots,
Yeah.
So, again, it's something that we'll have to, address and not let it go without at least coming up and making recommendations to the town board, and then they can deal with it as they see fit. So,
Minutes.
yeah, one more thing, training, has everybody,
Working on it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, what Dan said.
Well, again, I mean,
You've
not
got
that,
2 weeks.
well,
Loads of time.
yeah, sooner than later, and again, there's all manner of, resources. Primarily the Department of State, local government, they have the trainings there, and if you just, listen to one of the webinars, just make notes. Glean something out of it that was useful. Like I said, I'm willing to consider a credit for that zoning enforcement, which was just, because it's spelled out what authority that the zoning board has. I think that's good to know, because again, we're having people come and they would say something at the open forum and thinking that we could act on it, which we can't. And we talked, there is somewhat a procedure that you have, somebody makes, a complaint or whatever, that you respond to it in a way that it just doesn't not go addressed.
Right.
Do we have a form that you would like us to fill out with that information for the training?
I just,
Yeah, done by email to.
Just email you
yeah,
what I've done.
yeah.
That's fine.
Also, the sexual harassment stuff needs to be updated. If you have, you know, a job where you get that training, you can somehow get that, and I did mine through the Board of Elections. Again, if you work for the state or something, they make sure you have that, and they give you the same thing, that's what I found, it's the same. So, but you just make note of it and then get it, and Carmi gets those, so. Anyway, all right, minutes is somebody suggested.
Corinne.
So has Mr. Kagas gone back to the planning board?
Yes.
Okay, that was the whole idea of expediting what we were doing so that.
Yeah.
It get moving up.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from last month as is.
Second motion.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Leland,
Aye.
Chairman David,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lack.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Pettit.
Aye.
Board Member Mattos. Aye.
I make a motion to adjourn tonight.
Thank you.
Mattos.
You made.
Aye.
Board Member Pettit.
Aye.
Chairman Gage,
Aye.
Vice Chairman Lack.
Aye.
Board Member Ganster,
Aye.
Board Member Boggs,
Aye.
Board Member Lind.
Is everybody getting their email?
Yeah.
Okay. It would be helpful if you did let us know, because again,